Bleep bloop. It's live now.
Bleep bloop.
Excellent music timing, me. Hello, everybody. I will give you a second to filter in. Hi, welcome back to the fail Portrayal.
He's actually here for once.
Well, he probably got the notification it went live, either on Discord or the other thing. Anyway.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's okay.
You made it on time.
I'm in the last chapter.
God, what the rest of you gonna do with your time? Anyway, hi. Hello, this is Fail Portrayal. I'll just tab us over so you guys can contemplate what we're working with here as we get into it. Hello.
Yes.
And actually, I can scooch this over slightly.
Once again, apologies if you guys hear my fans. It is still hot because Australia somehow missed the memo about summer ending.
Yeah. It's hot for me too. So today, as voted on by our Patreons, we're gonna talk about Red Eyes. So we're gonna be here for a little bit. But I'll start off the night strong. We are wrapping up on a month, so we're about to go to a new one. Our $5 and up patrons can vote in topic polls, which includes a Fail Portrayal poll every month. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, on swinging the votes, which can actually matter. Like Red Eyes dogpiled a little with like 5 votes, but that's mostly because like the others just didn't get a lot of votes. So there's definitely some opportunity to swing these polls. Don't feel like I'm saying like, oh, Red Eyes won by a mile. The votes were literally 5 to like 1 for like 3 other categories. So
we have a lot of archetypes to go through. Plus,
there's some wiggle room there, y'all.
I need to see what they did because someone just said like this new World Legacy shit.
Well, yeah, there's new solo mode, but that's not for this. Double not for this stream. That's this Thursday stream. Now, thank you, Master Duel, for always bailing me out.
I mean, I'm still. Never mind.
Thank you for bailing me out, Master Duel, with giving me stuff to do on the bonus stream. Anyway, so about to be a new month. You could join our Patreon, get in, vote in the poll, so that's cool. Also, just in general, it's nearing the end of the month. The YouTube revenue is a little low. It could be higher. I heartily recommend or ask if you like us and are supporting us, consider dropping us a super chat, channel membership, gifting some channel memberships, all that fun stuff. But also just, increase the ad revenue. Tell your friends, share this with your friends and enemies. If you want to, call somebody out and tell them that they're a third-rate duelist with a fourth-rate deck, hand them this entire essay. And also stay tuned. Make sure to go back and watch our Resident Evil 4 Remake stream. Lucky played 3 hours yesterday. Wednesday, we're going to be playing more Final Fantasy XIV Heavensward. Also, probably doing the seasonal event, so I can become Tonberry. And on Thursday...
You become a tall Tonberry.
I'll be a very tall Tonberry. As I am now a female.
I just see how it looks on me.
If chat doesn't know, I have a female Viera avatar now, and I made her the tallest you can be, so...
height is cool.
That'll be very interesting to see. And lastly, as I said earlier, Thursday will be a bonus stream. The people voted on Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, so get ready to see me yell about that. Probably not, because I'm sure the World Legacy setups will be good. But if we run out of World Legacy, I may have to do ladder, and then you guys will really get your money's worth. So make sure to watch everything. Yes, Rada did a charity stream, I think, last weekend, and he's been posting some of the VODs. It included a brief but new pathetic aesthetic, which obviously this series is heavily modeled on. But that was one of his more esoteric videos talking about various Beastie Boys. But this is much more focused. We're going to talk about Red Eyes.
Honestly, watching Bezek recently made me appreciate our show more, where it's like we actually talk about what makes the cards sometimes more interesting, but the art's not great.
Well, yeah, but that's not the point of pathetic aesthetic. Anyway.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Red Eyes. It should be no surprise to you guys that I am a big fan of Red Eyes. If you have watched me play or heard me talk, you know I like Red Eyes. Red Eyes Black Dragon, I think, was actually the first Yu-Gi-Oh! Card I ever saw. I believe the first episode of the anime I caught because back in my day, unless you got the TV guide, you didn't fucking know what was on TV. So the episode I just randomly tuned into on a Saturday morning was, I'm pretty sure it was Joy versus Retraptor, but I first saw the Red Eyes boy. Or girl, depending. It's very funny. Also, by the way, everybody pour one out for Cross Duel. It's closing down in September. Whatever their monetization was, didn't do it.
Oh, no.
I mean, I never played it. It was only on phones. I hope that people making interesting apps are learning that just putting it on phones doesn't work anymore.
You have to have something worthwhile to play with it too.
Well, okay.
Okay. Yeah, that everyone actually saying Yu-Gi-Oh isn't worthwhile playing.
I think Cross Duel because that was more of like a. That's more like a.
Axe, how many
Tactics
hours do you have
game.
in Cross Duel?
10 minutes.
Well, better than I thought, but still, not a lot. Not a lot of sample range.
It's also a lot of my. It was a lot on my phone. I want to save the space. Honestly,
Well,
after,
that
like,
was
10
the
minutes.
point I actually meant, Axe, was, you know, if you're making cool, interesting games, don't put them just on fucking phones. Put them on Steam and PlayStation and shit. No, nobody owned 3 Red Eyes. Nobody owned 3 of anything. We didn't invent... Well, no, that's not true. The one rare hunter who doesn't have a fucking name, who was the Exodia player, had 3 counterfeit Exodias. But running playsets of things was foreign to the anime for several seasons. I don't even know if
Because
they were
they-
running
yeah.
multiple copies until 5Ds. Anyway.
Okay.
I have a whole spiel I would like to get to. We have 5 million cards, but I need to preface this. I'll fucking deaf and mute myself if I have to.
Tell us you have this before.
I haven't said anything. Just Deaf and Mute and Axe.
Hi, chat. It's just you and me. I've deafened and muted myself. I'm getting a fucking... fucking messages. Sorry, I'm being distracted. Discord, how do I tell you not to give me this notification? Anyway. Okay. Yeah, I think Kaiba was the only one with H3 of playset, and that was because that was the thing that there were only ever those 3 cards, and he owned all of them. Like, that was his one gimmick. The fact that there weren't 3 Red Eyes probably explains some of our fusion materials. Anyway, I want to preface this by talking about the archetype, but apparently I can't do that because Axe is just going to be bitchy about stuff. So, as I said, I'm very fond of Red Eyes. Very long-standing run for me. But it's not a great archetype. It is one of the archetypes that has some of the arguably oldest like combo support and archetypes going on out there. We'll go through the list, but there was a Red Eyes fusion monster in the very same, the very next set after Red Eyes came out. The original Red Eyes Metal Dragon is pretty old as well, though it was hard to obtain. In general, the archetype has really been marred by a lot of early design weirdness. So there's a lot of, when we go through the lines, you'll notice that a lot of early cards, and even to this day, a decent number of Red Eyes, like boss and combo monsters, aren't actually inside the Red Eyes archetype. Makes them very hard to deal with. They have a lot of shackled support because I can go ahead and say it's all DMD's fault. Darkness Metal Dragon was actually a really, really good card. So good that because it came out around the Dragon Ruler era, it has seriously warped Red Eyes' influence. And in general, the archetype has a lot of weird stuff we're going to talk about. It's very long running. They've got early support, recent support, mid support. Technically, during the Arc V era, which was also an anniversary era, similar to what we got on now, Red Eyes got their support first. Clash of Rebellions, sorry, I'm thinking of Crossed Souls. Clash of Rebellions came out before Shining Victory and Dark Illusion, which were 2 of the sets that really pumped Blue Eyes and Dark Magician support, and pumped them to be arguably meta. Blue Eyes won a Worlds during that format, obviously due to Worlds list, and was playable at your locals and your tournaments. And Dark Magician got Dark Magic Circle and Eternal Soul during this time period, so was also playable. And Red Eyes kind of wasn't. That's where a lot of their Gemini support we're going to talk about later comes from. But I'm hopeful that currently Red Eyes is way behind in the support game. They've had a couple of cards last year that coincide with some anime stuff we're going to get to way at the end of this episode. but generally they haven't seen the huge swell of support that Blue Eyes and Dark Magician have seen recently. You know, Illusion of Chaos, Master of Chaos, shit like that. The new Magician's Salvation field spell. And obviously Blue Eyes got Pure Light, Pure Light and Jet, Ultimate Fusion, shit like that. Red Eyes hasn't really gotten their touch of that proper support yet. I'm hoping because it's an anniversary year we do get there. But you'll see as we go through this, there's some interesting harpening about it. Now, the joke of this title, if you don't know, is in the original Toei animated Yu-Gi-Oh! Special, like the Season 0 stuff, it was commented that while Blue Eyes had power, Red Eyes had potential. I feel like this was echoed somewhere in the dub script, but I'm not sure. And certainly in the initial wave, as we go through the first couple of Red Eyes cards, Red Eyes Black Dragon did have more forms than Blue Eyes. Blue Eyes was mainly just Ultimate Dragon and then kind of sort of Shining if you want to take the movie into account. Whereas Red Eyes obviously had Metal Dragon. They had the Black Skull Fusion, Meteor Dragon. Meteor Black Dragon was used in that setup. And then also, throughout the rest of it, there was stuff like Red Eyes Dragon Sword, etc., etc. That's kind of fallen off again as Red Eyes has had some bad eras of support. But I have now, well, sorry, Loft posted a gift that he's clearly just jamming out while I do all this. But now I've kind of encapsulated what we're talking about here. So I will undeafen and mute myself. I will check Yu-Gi-Oh! Top decks, but I'm not confident, chat.
Ah, shit, monster back. Scoffer.
I had to go
I already
not
commented
break
about
something, but whatever. Fine.
I don't know what the fuck you're frustrated about. I'm trying to,
It took you 2 minutes to get to the bit you wanted to do anyway.
Yeah, because I have a lot of stuff to talk about, and also there's a chat. I don't need you cutting me off, too. Anyway, technically, there are some Red Eyes tops. During a Remote Duel Invitational in March of 2021, Red Eyes Eldritch made first place. I'm pretty sure that's Dragoon in the Red Eyes package. Yeah, they're literally playing 4 monsters, 2 Eldritch, 1 DM, 1 Red Eyes. So that lets you know how that works. There was a very, very low-topping Red Eyes Guard Dragon list. That's basically
honestly just
prototype.
Could you call it
Dragon Link?
Red Eyes if you just used the Red Eyes Link monster, the Link 4?
Well, no, because one, that guy doesn't have a Red Eyes. Also, literally nobody has ever used that monster.
Oh, I thought it was.
No,
thought
he's
it was
fucking
Dragon.
awful. No, he's terrible.
Aw. I guess I misremember what it is.
It's really bad. Its effect, actually no, its effect's not that great anyway either. It's funny, but it's fucking useless. We'll talk about him way later. And there is one Chaos Dragon list. Let me see. What cut did this make? Third place in whatever the hell ETS YGO TCG is. Somebody was running a Chaos Dragon package for a deck that costs like $20. This is clearly some kind of gimmick tournament because they've only got 9 cards in their extra. They're running shit like Mass Dragon, Exploder Dragon, so I think this must have been some kind of special limited list or early basically prototype Time Lord shit. I don't know, but Red Eyes doesn't have a lot of tops, doesn't have a lot of stuff to its name. It's very wiggly, very, very, very underperforming. And there's a lot of reasons for that when we talk about the actual archetype cards. Obviously, under Dark Magician and Blue Eyes, the original Red Eyes Black Dragon, you see all the iterations of its card art on the screen right now. Not the best. It is below Dark Magician and below Blue Eyes. But it is still a 7-star monster. I don't know why it's a 7-star monster. I guess they thought 2K defense was more worth it back in the day. But Red Eyes Black Dragon is a Dark Dragon normal, level 7, 2400 attack, 2K defense, a ferocious dragon with deadly attack. It's, in OCG, TCG, Speed Duel, whatever. This stat line is kind of important later. Some of you in chat may remember when this card was technically Red Eyes B Dragon. I don't really know why Upper Deck started and Konami carried forward abbreviating certain instances of the word black. I don't know if they were concerned about it being some kind of weird racial thing in America. I don't know if they were trying to avoid the word black as in black magic. Obviously, that's why they changed Dark Magician to Dark Magician from Black Magician. That is just a localization
sound
change.
that great.
Well,
Just don't
yeah,
think it
like I
sounds
said,
that
it's literally like that's both black magic and also the race thing. Then you'd be like, you know, whatever's going on there. No, I'm pretty sure all 6 of these cards art exist. One of them isn't out in the TCG yet. The bottom right one is the original manga art. The only printing of this card that exists is from the History Archive in the OCG, so there's not a version of this card art in the TCG yet. Though I'm sure we'll get there. So, you can see them. This is the original printing. This is the printing that was in the Dragon's Roar structure deck, I believe. So, this is a pretty common print. I don't remember where exactly the second one came up from. It's an alternate art from a few places. This one is the later art. The bottom left one is the latest later art from like Legendary Collections and stuff. This one is an alt art that in the TCG was printed in Maximum Gold a couple years back. So it's just like a cool, shiny, you know, gold alt art rare. All in all, I think you guys can get the general vibes. He's a dragon. He's black. He's got red eyes. Sometimes he has some other red stuff going on.
Man, I thought he had black eyes and red skin.
No. No, that's not how grammar works, Law.
Yeah.
There's also some fire sometimes. Even though it's a dark type, there's a lot of fire. But yeah.
Why do we have got like some weird cards that are like red eyes, but it's pyro related, mixed with flame swordsman or something?
I'm gonna be
dumb
honest.
like that.
We might see something like that. I don't know what. These days, Konami does not really seem to have a consistent plan for Red Eye support. Chat will be able to see that as we keep going on and keeping on. Yeah, the bottom right was in some tins and some reprints. There were some alt art versions as well. I think it was like originally printed in some side sets. And like I said, this was in Maximum Gold as an alt art, and this one isn't in the TCG yet. It will eventually. No idea where they'll stick it in, but it's an anniversary year, so they'll find something. Because there's actually some Red Eyes cards that were, like I said, promos last year.
Martha's correct with that joke.
Yeah, there's a lot of different art styles out there. I think Kaz drew, like, maybe the first 2. And obviously, like I said, the bottom left, well, not a Kaz art, because the History Archive, I believe, was unfortunately released after his passing. It's based off his original manga art, so it's kind of a trace from there. Oh, yeah, and actually the bottom right here has the Kaz signature, so that's also a Kaz art. Very distinct style, but this is from a series of alt arts. You know, he's done from, like, Dark Magician, Blue Eyes, Summon Skull. That's the really metal Summon Skull is from that run of art. But yeah, there's a lot going on here. Red Eyes is an anime deck. It's been referenced several times. Obviously, it was in, you know, the core original series. Addicts Road / Night Shroud used it in GX. It was referenced in Zexal, though it didn't actually, I don't think it actually showed up on screen, though there was a Red Eyes statue dragon, though that may explain why there is an Xyz Red Eyes. And, you know, other little cameo nods. It's in Rush Duels, for instance. So, a pervasive card, but a card that mechanically Konami has not yet solved. I don't know if we really have anything else to say about the arts, so we need to start going down the line, because there's a few of these. Like I said, you want to joke
We're
about...
doing like in... Go
ahead.
Are we going in wave order?
Yes. We're going in time
Okay.
order.
One thing I would like to say is just depending on the art, you can just be like, how do you prefer your Red Eyes, long neck or short neck?
Yeah. Alright, so... The the Red Eyes go away now.
I'm gonna preempt this. I'm gonna ask you the same question I think a few times through the stream in like a very specific way at different points. I hope it doesn't. I'll just say it then, but like I'll just say it now just so you know what I mean. But from this point about the cards we have shown so far, how do you think Red Eyes should go direction-wise? I'll ask this a few times just considering how it shifts a lot.
I
So
mean,
maybe at different points
no,
you may
I'm not
have a better
gonna.
idea.
No, we're not gonna play that ring around game because we're gonna be here forever. While it would be funny for me to like try and describe what Konami could have done for the support. By the way, chat, hello. You are now the Red Eyes Black Dragon girl from Cross Duel, which is about to explode.
Yeah.
The designs were cool. I just like, I don't.
The problem is that if we can't play this game because it won't work because we know where it's going. And also there's a lot of these. There's a lot of these. And Loth has to go eventually.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I have quite a few Red Eyes over the years, though. Unfortunately, I've had to catch some of them in cheap reprints because, like I said, Red Eyes is weird. Some of these cards took very long to come out. No, that's right. I did not re-grab that art. Hold on. Where did it go? So we'll still be kind of alphabetizing and main decking and stuff. So we're going to talk about Red Eyes Black Metal Dragon first. Not the first one to appear, but still from this original wave. Also still very early in the game. And it's the only other main deck Red Eyes monster for a little bit.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, this is another, I'm pretty sure this is traced from a manga panel. It's very weird and bulgy. I think you can clearly tell that this is supposed to be Red Eyes plus Metal Morph with this kind of, like, coloration and shape. But yeah, as much as I think the mechanic of, like, oh, Joey stole Metal Morph and made Red Eyes metal, I thought that was cool. I'm not a huge fan of the look of Metal Dragon. He's very chunky. And he has a very bladey face. I think there are
like
later
the,
arts that go for this concept a better.
I like those tension cables and like his claw.
Oh, yeah. I'm not sure what that's supposed to represent exactly, but it's definitely, like, a pretty interesting one.
It makes me think of like puppets that have like cables and like those same spots for like moving their fingers.
If you had told me this was Metal Red Eyes Ostrine, I would have believed you.
No, he doesn't have quite a
He
skull
is.
enough head for this.
Yeah, but just how like wide he became.
Yeah, he's a big boy. There's not really a lot to say. Also, by the way, the lighting in this is god-awful. Like, there's very bright highlighty sheen, and then there's deep, dark shadows. That, I think, has nothing to do with the manga panels. That's
Very,
just somebody
like-
translated this very badly.
It's very early like 90s shading.
Yeah, this is, somebody's described to me how, like, early Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards were made. It's very early era digital art. You know, we're talking about, like, early Photoshop filters and shit, so, like, all of this is just big, bright, shiny brush, big, dark brush, and then we put a fucking Windows screensaver or Windows Media Player visualizer filter behind it, which is cool, but, like, what does that have to do with the eyes that are red? You know, I don't know. Red Eyes Black Metal Dragon is fucking terrible, by the way. It was a lot of how the early Konami era handled weird anime effect cards like Dark Sage, Black Metal Dragon, Metal Zoa, even. Very
Yeah.
unfortunate, and is honestly why there are several attempts to retrain this concept. None of them are quite as good, quite perfect, but obviously Darkness Metal Dragon comes from a similar space, so, you know, we tried. This one you also never see because it's actually crossed into machine, because that's what Metal Morph was originally supposed to do.
Yes.
So, this is a level 8 Dark Machine monster. This, by the way, locks it out of almost all of modern Red Eyes support, other than the fact that it's got Red Eyes in its name. It's got 2900 attack, 2400 defense, can't even beat up a Blue Eyes. Can't be normal summoned or set. Must first be special summoned from your deck only by tributing a Red Eyes Black Dragon equipped with Metal Morph. Nobody has ever done this. It's way too slow. I think it was slow even back in the day. It relied on yet another really bad like promo card, Metal Morph, which has been retrained even. They have a rare Metal Morph now.
Talking about Metal Morph?
Yeah, we're still early, so we're only talking about Black Metal, Red Eyes Black Metal Dragon.
Dude, I got that card from the GBA game.
Nice. I never owned
what was that?
Forbidden
Duelist
Memories.
of the Soul? Oh, Forbidden Memories, that's right.
I think it was Forbidden Memories. Because Forbidden Memories is where Red Eyes is. Yeah. Forbidden Memories on the PlayStation was Black Metal Dragon, Harpy's Pet Dragon, and Metal Morph. I never owned Forbidden Memories back in the day, which is a shame. As you can guess, that
no, that's right. I didn't own Forbidden. I didn't own Forbidden Memories. I traded a promo card from one of my GBA games for that because I didn't own a PlayStation 1.
Yeah, makes sense. The old trading economy. Yeah, Red Eyes with regular Metal Morph works way better. Black Metal Dragon is, again, not really... He dodges all of the later Red Eyes support by being a machine and by being level 8. Lots of Red Eyes actually calls out dragons and level 7s or lowers.
Okay. This always bothered me. Why
What's
is
up?
he machine now?
Because that's
It's a
what
Metal
Metal Morph did in the anime.
Yeah.
But it didn't, though. It just made him covered in metal.
Well, yeah, no. It turned him into a machine monster so that it would be immune to spells and stuff. Weird Duelist
Right.
Kingdom rules, remember? Yeah, so,
I forgot.
Konami interpolated that as he becomes a machine now, but it's very bad. It's not good. It also dodges because it requires you to tribute a Red Eyes Black Dragon, which is a dragon monster that is normal. Completely dodges all of the, like, Metal Morph Dark Machine support that they put out for Bandit Keith over the years as well. Black Metal Dragon is just a terrible card, and is a preface for how this will continue to go, chat. Also, it was a rare card.
I'll say this. I don't think it ever got this bad again.
No, it's true. You don't really get worse than, like, Red Eyes Black Metal Dragon and Dark Sage shit.
This is some Blue Eyes Shining Dragon tier dumb.
Yeah. Oh, also, by the way, this card was about as hard to get and about as useful as Shining Dragon because for about 5 years, it was only printed as the promo.
Wait, Blue Eyes Shining Dragon was hard to get?
Technically, let's see. Did you need to buy the special? Did you need to buy the special pack or go to the movie?
Go to the movie because I went to the movie about 15 times.
I mean, Dallas, that meant that somebody, at least, maybe not you, but somebody spent like, oh, I don't know. That movie came out when I was young, so probably like $5 a ticket, $6 a ticket.
Nah. See, Omega, this is where the key comes in. He's back. $3.
Ah,
my
$3
local
matinees. Those kind of cheap movies. Okay.
Yeah.
Still, you
Came
multiply.
out over the summer.
You multiply that by about 3. That's or what did you say? 10. That's like $30. 15. That's it's still a decent chunk of change to get all those copies. But yeah, it was. If you missed the movie run, it was hard to get Shining Dragon for a while. And also Shining Dragon was very useless because they had not imported Ultimate Dragon. But that'll be a running theme for some later cards we'll talk about. But yeah. I still don't own a copy of Metal Dragon, I don't think, because it's only been reprinted like 3 times. It was a Super and a Secret Rare in the Premium Pack in 2007, and then, guess what? Konami realized their mistake. When it was in Legendary Collection for Joey's World and the Millennium Pack, which was the Anniversary Pack in 2016, it was a common both times because it sucks. So, yeah, it's not a great card. We can move on to another card that is, well, not great, at least had a purpose. Because we're going to get into the first couple fusion monsters for Red Eyes. And again, this is Metal Dragon plus these 2 fusion monsters gets us to that old comment from the Toei era about potential. Because for a while, Red Eyes did have more forms.
So
It was always-
going to go with oldest first?
Yeah, it's time for Black Skull Dragon.
Yeah.
You guys want to know the weirdest memory I have about this card?
Yeah.
Do you guys remember the only time I ever used this card?
Yeah. Didn't you use like a hex shield or something?
I think I know. I think it was like I was about to deck out, and I think I used it to win against you doing chain energy burn on me.
Yeah, you just made a big guy with a fusion substitute because you'd gotten some tournament packs. I don't remember which guy it was. It might have been the regular King of the Swamp.
It was just the whole thing, and I think I was sick that day too. So it was like it was a weird mix of like.
I actually own a
weird...
little miniature boy version of this. Yeah.
Can I say a weird fact about this card?
What's up?
Because it cracks me the hell up. What would you say is the oldest deck that uses this card?
God, I don't know.
Jeez. I'm gonna go ahead and say something dumb and say old ass zombie decks.
Should I just say it because no one's gonna get it right?
Yes.
Yeah.
This card appeared in a tournament Flunder deck.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No. Yes, Meteor Dragon was introduced, but it wasn't printed until later. I think it may technically have been after Black Skull as well. I can work at the OCG
reason
timelines,
being,
but
it's a prosperity target.
yeah, no.
They don't use their extra deck.
Fluandereeze is able to literally play without an extra deck. They're like extra deck Monarch in that way. I literally played the extra deck Festival with a Flu build. I did not have Barrier Statue, but I had some other stuff in there. But yeah, you will occasionally see memes like that in this, but no, it's.
But I just found it funny that I looked up the Yu-Gi-Oh! Top decks and it's like 2022. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Oh, you missed it, Dallas. I was looking up the top cuts. Technically, a quote-unquote Red Eyes deck did win a YCS. It was Red Eyes Eldritch. It was they had literally 4 monster cards in their main deck. It was 2 copies of Eldritch, 1 Red Eyes, 1 Dark Magician.
I mean, okay.
I would call that the Green Eldritch, honestly.
In a more real sense, there actually has been one high-placing Red Eyes list. I can't remember what was. It was like in 2017, I want to see. It was Red Eyes Chaos Dragons. And it was actually running like more than 1 Red Eyes Dragon.
Yeah, but I looked at that list earlier. I think that must have been from a weird side tournament, the Chaos one, because they had 9 cards on their extra deck. Like, it's not a normal deck. I think it might have been like a retro format or a weird ban list. There was in 2019, there was a Red Eyes Guard Dragon list that did make a top cut, like a second day. It was still like in the top 32s, but like it existed. It made a second day at a tournament. I think that was basically like Proto Dragon Link because Red Eyes Black Dragon and Red Eyes Toon Dragon, who's not on our list, I'll save that for when we talk about toons. But because it is a dark level 7 dragon, Red Eyes and the Toon version are targets for certain rocket cards, which let you set up into easy synchro plays for Borreload.
And Red Eyes Insight is a dumb card.
Yeah, so I don't have them on my list,
Yeah.
but if we talk about what Red Eyes spell trap support is like, they have some of the craziest shit in the world. I've talked about this. You know how
I don't
Pure
think
Light
anything is quite as crazy as Insight.
Insight's pretty cracked. But hey, you know how Pure Light and Eternal Soul, when you pop them, they fuck you? Our version of that card, Return of the Red Eyes, you plus off that. You dare your opponent to pop Return of the Red Eyes. It doesn't give you the same level of blanket protection, but it does have the effect that when you flip it over, you get to start summoning Red Eyes. But it's like, oh, you destroyed my back row? Fuck you, actually. Anyway, we're not talking a lot about Black Skull Dragon.
I love this art.
Yeah,
this is
no,
possibly
he's
one of my favorite
he's
arts in
very
all of
silly,
Yu-Gi-Oh.
but I like him a lot. This is definitely like a tracing of an OG Kaz. Like I said, I have a little like capsule mini monster version of this guy, a little plastic miniature.
This is
pretty good.
possibly the closest thing I get to Duel Masters Nostalgia. This and Blackluster Soldier. I don't know why.
Which version of Blackluster Soldier? The Envoy, the End Art, or the OG?
The OG.
It's pretty Kino. That one's pretty Kino.
I like both of them, honestly.
Yeah.
But one of them was from Duel Masters, the show. The other one, I have nostalgia for playing the card.
But yeah, Black
Dallas,
Skull
you did it
Dragon
again.
is a fusion of
Oh, did I cut out?
No, you said Duel Masters.
Yeah, you can't say dual
Dual
monsters. You were
Monsters,
unable
sorry.
to say that.
Completely
I know.
different
Right.
anime.
Sorry, I forgot that defunct card game, vestigial card game.
So, Black Skull Dragon is a fusion of Summon Skull and Red Eye's Black Dragon. It certainly looks like it. It's got Red Eyes as kind of silhouette, but, you know, chunky bony bits like Summon Skull. Got Summon Skull's horns and stuff. It's a good wombo combo. This is a level 9 Dark Dragon fusion monster. It is 3200 attack, 2500 defense. And technically, you'll probably see this card again whenever we decide to do Archfiends. Because, yes, technically this is not a Red Eyes card, but it has Red Eyes Black Dragon as the fusion, so we're talking about it. Its OCG name is Black Demon's Dragon, and this card has an errata. It is one of a handful of non-effect monsters with text. Because it has an errata to have a parenthetical, this card is always treated as an Archfiend card because it has Daemon in its name. So, yeah.
Fun fact: this card is actually part of a meta rogue deck in a format. That format is GOAT, but still.
Yeah. I assume the use there is probably for like
Metamorphosis.
Yeah, metamorphosis targets and shit. And the fact that I don't think I read its stat line, but even if I did, I'll reiterate. It's 3200 attack, 2500 defense. So this was big enough to get over the Gate Guardian boys in that duel. But also, in general, is just an asshole who is larger than, you know, Blue Eyes and several other popular basic main deck monsters. He's just a big guy.
Like, I would argue this is the third best target for Metamorphosis in Duel Masters.
You've done it,
Monsters.
Dallas. You're doing it. Okay, you caught yourself at least this time.
You should just say Yu-Gi-Oh.
Like, it's not Thousand Eyes Restrict. Well, no, because it becomes very much not that up to after a point.
All right.
It's Thousand Eyes Restrict, Last Warrior from Another Planet, then this.
Yeah, because it's one of the biggest doofuses you can make.
It's
Because
so
guess
big
what?
above
Our
this,
next
he's
boy,
level
despite the
10.
fact that it was printed in the OCG for years, would not be legal in GOAT because they didn't fucking print him. Is there not a blown up? Well, I guess there. No, here we go. Okay, somebody got it. I just had to go very deep. The mythos of this guy runs deep. It's Meteor Black Dragon.
Yes.
This is an old ass card, like a weird card art. It's very old in the OCG, and you can tell. I don't think I've ever seen him blown up, so you can tell that he's kind of got a face like Red Eyes. I feel like he's almost got a prototype of like the Red Dragon from 5Ds, kind of like running down his body. That's kind of a weird bit of synergy there.
Yeah, a lot of things that failed are popular in Japan. That doesn't make them good.
Oof. You can't
Tamagotchi
see.
is still popular in Japan.
Hey, what's wrong with Tamagotchi?
It's a cookie clicker. Change my mind.
I think they're, depending on what version, it's a little more technical than that, but I mean, I'm not going to fight about it.
That's true. I just mean the original Tamagotchi.
So, by the way, chat, I'm wondering if there's like an art error here or just it's weird. What's going on with his arm? Like, I think it's supposed to have like a wing or something, but like, there's no lines. It just goes.
I think it just has a. I think that's his tail.
I can see the separation,
No,
but
his
it just
tail's down
blends.
here
No,
and it goes around. I'm talking about his
No, I
his
think it
big
goes-
arm.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's a part of his arm. I think that's like something else.
Or
No,
the
yeah,
yeah.
it is wings. And you know how I know that, Omega?
Hmm?
I know that from the Dungeon Dice Monsters GBA game, because this guy was in that.
Yeah, he does have wings. Okay, I've seen a shot from him from the anime and stuff. Oh god, did somebody make him later in the anime? That's a later edition text box. What did this show up in? Who the fuck is that guy? Oh, he's in GX. Okay, Truman used Meteor Black Dragon.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he's got wings. I like that they kind of try to give him like some lava lines, but it doesn't quite work. His color scheme is fucking awful. Like, he's kind of a yellowish orange, and then
Yeah, you know how I
Purple?
said this art, or how I said Black Skull Dragon's art is like really good? This
Yeah.
is like the opposite.
well, I mean, I think you can understand why. Like, this guy was from like not from the manga.
no.
I don't think this was from the special that Toei did back in the day. And so
You know what was?
Board Farmer says
You
Red
know
Eyes
what
did too
this
many
art
steroids.
reminds me of?
Yeah.
Megan, have you played the original Dark Souls game?
No, I don't think I've actually played the original Dark Souls, but I've seen people play through the whole
Okay.
thing.
Okay. Because it looks like the fucking lava effect in Isolith.
Oh no! Don't remind me.
It's that
Yeah,
orange ass gross lava.
yeah, it's got a lava filter on it. So if you could make him, if you could have owned this card at any decent point, you know, before the year 2012 was when this card was first brought over to the TCG, way past its prime. This would also actually be a really good Metamorphosis target because this guy's only level 8. But he has 3,500 attack, 2k defense. By the way, Meteor Black Dragon is a fire dragon, not a dark dragon. And his
I will
Red Eyes plus
argue
Meteor Dragon.
intensely this is a worse card than Black Skull Dragon for one big reason.
Meteor Dragon sucks
Meteor
ass.
Dragon is Meteor Dragon is an infinitely worse card than Summon
Uh,
Skull.
true, but you could at least have. I mean, it was pretty easy to come by. Meteor Dragon, the normal boy, was a McDonald's promo.
Yep, had that one
Yep.
too.
I'll pull up his art so you can see the comparison because this is like the only. time
Also,
you can
this
come
is
up.
one of the worst arts in all of Yu-Gi-Oh. I'll state that right.
Which one, Meteor Dragon?
Meteor Dragon to be, yeah, I think it's one. Of the worst
Yeah,
arts in all
Vanilla
of
Meteor Dragon is ugly as fuck. I get what they're going for. He's literally a
hate this
dragon
art
in a
so
mirror,
much.
in a meteor, but
Oh no!
he doesn't have back legs. He's just got a little blunt snout. Now, admittedly, he's got
He
fucking
looks
red
like-
eyes.
He looks like a dragon fetus.
So, but remember what Meteor Dragon looks like when we come back to the 2 retrains of him for Red Eyes.
Yep.
But yeah, Meteor
God,
Dragon
I hate
is
that
a awful card. It's a level 6 that's got 1800 attack, 2000 defense. It's an Earth Dragon, by the way, not even a Fire type. It's
Yeah, it's not fire type.
the typing is so weird, but Meteor Black Dragon
attributes-
is.
Can we all admit that in early Yu-Gi-Oh, they just didn't give a fuck with attributes?
Very much so. I think it's because he's a rock, but it's so weird. So yeah, Meteor Black Dragon took forever to come out in the TCG, much like Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. I'm not sure exactly what happened with Ultimate, but we'll solve that mystery when we eventually do Blue Eyes someday. But in Japan, the reason why it was so rare is because this was a... Oh, no, that was the same set as Ultimate Dragon. It was a set of prize cards that were offered at the Tokyo Dome. I think that maybe the Tokyo Dome tournament with Exodia that caused the riot.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, so this card was printed very, very early in the OCG, but
Well-
as a prize card. It was reprinted almost immediately in a premium pack, but we weren't doing those. So
I can tell you why that Blue Eyes Ultimate got over way before here. 'Cause I don't think anyone actually gave a shit about this card.
I mean, I did as a kid, but that's only because that I was plugged into the internet, and so I knew, like, oh, there's a Red Eyes fusion that's even stronger than Black Skull Dragon. And it was like, oh, it's only in the Japanese version. I was like, oh. I didn't realize it was a prize
Yeah.
card because, like, the reporting was bad. It was just we knew it existed. But yeah, this card has never mattered. I don't even think it's been printed in Speed Duel. I don't even think in Speed Duel it fucking matters.
It's good in Dungeon Dice Monsters.
Yeah, I'm sure it is because it's a big boy. But yeah, while admittedly both of these forms do beat up Blue Eyes White Dragon, that's about all they can have to say for themselves.
And this comes to the crux of the problem with Red Eyes, or at least my problem with Red Omega. In that, I think there is one, there's a certain comic book that comes to mind whenever I think of Red Eyes as an archetype.
Oh yeah,
And that's Identity Crisis.
yeah. I had a whole long talk about
That's
like
the one.
how I feel like we've had some back and forth. I don't think we need to dive into that moment by moment. I actually was asking about this earlier because chat will be able to see this unfold basically in real time as we go through the support waves.
So the first one seemed to be, it's like, okay, it's a fusion archetype.
Yeah. It's again the joke about the reference about potential. Okay, so Red Eyes has multiple forms.
Yeah.
They're strong.
Because also Joey's thing was because Yugi himself never really did that much fusion, from what I can remember.
He had a couple, but they were never. They were always like weird utility shit. Other
He
than
had Gaia,
Gaia,
the Dragon Champion,
and that was
that's
still
about
like
all I
very
can
specific
remember.
as like the overturn against Perfectly Ultimate Great Moth. Like a lot of it, I mean, technically everybody got kind of fusiony during the Waking the Dragons arc because of how the dragon cards worked.
Well, yeah,
but yeah,
yeah. But basically, what I mean is like on the show, I always associated fusion with like Joey, because even Kaiba really only did Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon,
yeah, he had the one big one.
whereas Joey had like Thousand Dragon, Black Skull Dragon.
Well, yeah, Thousand Dragon was
Flame
technically they made that into
Swordsman.
fusion later because it didn't work. And same with Flame Swordsman, that was just a normal monster. But like,
Right.
they still backported it, and like he also had other fusion stuff. Like obviously, I think Hermos has some of the most like guys in it. Like technically, I think the Timaeus was just like there's Dark Magician Dragon Knight and there's Dark Magician Girl Dragon Knight, and then they like made a retrain later. But like
I think Joey and Kaiba might be tied.
that's true. There's a couple because
There's a couple
Virus
of Critias
Dragon.
ones.
There's
I like Critias's because
Burst
they're
Wing
the
Dragon.
funniest.
well, yeah, because
Burst
that was
Wing,
turning
Mirror Force
trap cards into
Dragon.
monsters. Yeah, Mirror Force, Tyrant Wing, Destruction Dragon, shit like that. But like,
Yeah.
there's like 4 Hermos equipped fusions, one of which we will see later because it has Red Eyes in its name.
Yep.
Also, just one more thing, because this is
Yeah.
infinitely funny to me.
Sure.
I think Joey might have the second best on-screen win record of any Yu-Gi-Oh character.
He's got some
Like
ups and
over
downs.
every series.
Yeah.
He only has 2 losses on screen.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like he has a lot of ups and downs. I think the main thing is just that we obviously we see Yugi as the primary protagonist go through a lot of matches, but Joey also has a lot of matches just to like explain what he does. And honestly, we can be real. We talked about this earlier. Konami doesn't know what to do with Red Eyes. It's probably quote unquote Joey's fault or Kaz's fault for writing Joey this way. Joey used a lot of pile decks, basically. He had never had any consistent strategy other than just, hey, I'm going to play the, like, best monsters I own. Joey was playing Prague in Battle City. What's that? I beat a guy, got a new card, goes in the deck.
Honestly, I kind of attest a lot of this to how I feel like only until Arc V did they actually pace the shows like it was actually a card game where consistency mattered and not just people
I
had
will
pile
argue
decks
to
that...
death that GX had a lot of themes.
It probably
GX
moments,
had
I
very
feel
strong theming. 5Ds was
With the exception
very
of
strong
the
archetypes
first
being
bit of
introduced.
GX, which is kind of nonsense and shouldn't
Also,
count.
I will say this, Axe, I think you're wrong about consistency because if you want to talk about consistency cards, everybody played consistency cards back in the old school anime.
Card
Everybody
of
had Pot of
Sanctity,
Greed and Pot of Sanctity.
Draw
Like
5.
Okay, but
they
I
had
take
these
that
cards
more
to
of- I take that
refill
more
their
as-
hands.
I take that more as anime playmaker cards. Cards that
I
you
know
use to
what
actually
you mean,
can
though,
have a
but,
play
like,
moment.
Defined archetypes really started in GX.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's more just I feel like. Also look at Jane, who like literally had a bunch of one-ups because he had so many fucking names. But I always took it more of. I feel like Arc V, where like they designed character decks to actually be like they have multiples of cards and actually like they're aiming for specific combos instead of just being they're just playing cards that hopefully work.
No, I
don't
think
agree
that
with
like
you on that, 'cause
I think like
every
translating from the
protagonist-
real life
Zexal,
game,
I guess,
like
then.
Zexal definitely had that, and I think that some of the decks in 5Ds had a game plan.
Yeah, no, Axe, you're definitely wrong. Arc V is the one that literally had a dude made a deck out of the cards of everyone's favorite card.
I
you're
don't know,
totally
Dallas. I
wrong.
think every season
not
of
what I meant.
Yu-Gi-Oh has had that match.
Yes, it's
Yeah,
had
only
people
one
like
of them
I'm
took place in a
talking about in
only one
general.
of them took place in a prison.
That's fine.
But still, there have
Oh,
been
right.
several.
Five
There's
Ds.
been a matchup in every season where somebody has
No,
taken
5Ds
everybody's
is
cards.
The most bullshit.
It's why I said like I feel like after 5Ds, it's like 5Ds had some bits, but it was mostly set piece stuff.
But yeah,
But yeah, no. Joey is I always liked Joey the most out of the characters, mostly just because his theme seemed to be random bullshit go.
Yeah, he was all about luck and determination.
Gamba.
Yeah, which people find very funny. He would have, like, if you needed to bring back like an anniversary season of Yu-Gi-Oh with like modern bandless sensibilities, like if you made dual monsters but with like Vrains using actual card rules, Joey would play Cup of Ace and just get heads every time.
I mean, that's why my favorite villain is Artorias, because literally, that the entire joke is, oh no, he's a completely shit duelist. He can just control. He can control
He just has
fucking,
magic powers.
Yeah.
probability.
He has the power of God and anime on his side. But yeah,
So technically, an
and you'll
alien
see some of these things come back. Though it's interesting that like Konami has realized that the Gamba type effect, while fun, is not good for building consistent decks because that is an aspect that is mostly missing from Red Eyes. But certainly some of his battle tricks and shit have come back. But you've seen it on screen. This is Black Dragon's chick. It is not technically a Red Eyes card because in the Japanese its name is Kokuryu no Hina, which does mean, Kokuryu is Black Dragon. So it is, the Black Dragon's chick. It was Red Eyes Black Chick or Red Eyes B Chick before in the TCG because it's clear what it's supposed to be, but once again, when we introduce archetype support, that doesn't work anymore. So now it's Black Dragon's chick. This is a level 1 Dark Dragon monster with 800 attack, 500 defense that you can send this card, face-up card you control, to your graveyard to special summon a Red Eyes Black Dragon from your hand. This card was printed in 04 in Soul of the Duelist. So still technically in the very late, but still technically in the Duel Monsters era. This precedes, like, all the cards that cheat out, like, Blue Eyes. The only thing it doesn't beat out is the Skill Magicians, who can get counters to summon stuff like, Dark Magician and shit. But, like, this is one of the first, like, no, here's just a 1-to-1. If you summon this card, you get to bring out a Red Eyes cards. It's not good anymore because it's only during your hand, and you have to send up, face up when you control and shit, and it's kind of got some kind of weird effects that don't work out. But it was a decent attempt back at the time and saw some play, I believe. It was printed in a structure deck. It's been reprinted a shitload of times as a common usually. So it was an interesting strategy. The card art we can see is very obviously it's a little tiny baby Red Eyes.
Yep.
With a red shell. Bah.
Adorable little thing.
Yeah.
Honestly, this makes me think about, like, I kind of wish we ever had, like, when we have a legendary redstone, we just don't have the magic plaque Red Eyes.
And you won't because Red Eyes wasn't an ancient Egyptian monster. Like I said, technically,
No.
I feel that Return of the Red Eyes does most of the stuff anyway. I wouldn't mind a blanket protection effect for Red Eyes, but that would probably need to go on our field spell that doesn't exist yet.
Honestly, I feel like they could still make a plaque and have it was just one of the beasts worshipped by, like, the Gravekeeper cult.
Nah, they won't because it's
That'd be
okay.
the plaques are a reference to the fact that that's a thing in the manga and anime. Like, there is a Blue Eyes plaque from ancient Egyptian times. There's a Dark Magician plaque. Well, you joke about that. They have retrained this card like twice.
Yes.
So we'll bring that up later. But we're gonna move on to the next one, which vaguely mattered. So this is another bit of Red Eyes history. Let me see actually if I can get a better.
I think I owned this as a kid. It's a good. I like the. It's a pro.
Oh, we gotta go.
Maybe
Okay.
back later.
All right.
Set it in
R.I.P.
Discord.
Dallas.
Bye, Dallas.
Bye.
Yeah, no, this is I think this is the biggest art. Sag. So you're killing me, Smalls. All right, hold on. Let me start fresh, and then we'll go for a resize. Let's do like 1.5. So this is Red Eyes Darkness Dragon. So talking about how Red Eyes was sometimes first to bat for support. Red Eyes Darkness Dragon was the cover card on one of the 2 first structure decks released in the TCG. The other was the zombie one.
I think I owned this deck, structure deck or something.
Entirely possible, yeah. Dragon's Roar.
Because I just remember this card for some reason.
Yeah. It's also got some pack filler. Like it's been, reprinted in a couple of Legendary collections and Legendary Duelist. This card will be coming to Speed Duel soon because we're kind of in the weird back and forth GX phase. It'll be coming out in a couple of days. It'll be legal in the Duelist of Shadows set.
We went back to DM, but not even any other arc of DM for some reason. But that's
Well, yeah. Some people complain about that, but I think I still think it is kind of legit because like the whole point of the Battle City set, the second set is called Streets of Battle City. Is there were a lot of fucking guys in Battle City. There's a lot of them.
fair, but there's other. I feel like they could do the Atlantean arc, so they could probably make other cards as a speedball deck.
Yeah, they probably could do some.
That's just a suggestion, but not the
some
actual.
Orichalcos shit that might work. And some other things. You could. I actually don't know if you could put Lord of the Red because that card wasn't printed until way later. But yeah, so this is Red Eyes Darkness Dragon. So this is clearly supposed to be a like enhanced Red Eyes. I'm not a huge fan of this art. I think he's lost his arms for one. He just has bigger wings now.
Yeah. This is a precursor to Konami Orbs. He has diamonds.
Yeah. I can kind of take or leave the diamonds. I don't think they necessarily subtract, but they don't super add either. I kind of like the extra flair on the eyes. This, as I look at it, this background fucking rocks, though. Like, look at this, like, fog effect shading.
The swirling darkness.
Yeah, that's somebody drew that real good. And they've even got a little bit of, like, oh, where the fuck is my cursor? There it is. Some, like, opacity over, like, his feet and stuff. Like, there's some really good effects in this. And I believe that Darkness Dragon was okay for certain builds. It's not the best, and it's still got some awkward shit. This is a level 9 monster for some reason. But
God damn it.
Red Eyes Darkness Dragon is a level 9 Dark Dragon. It has the same basic stats as Red Eyes, 24-20. Can't be normal summoned or set, must be special summoned from your hand by tributing Red Eyes Black Dragon. But it gains 300 attack for each dragon monster in your graveyard. So by definition, if you tribute a Red Eyes to summon it from your hand, you'll have at least 27. If you have 2 dragons, you're 3k, you know, etc., etc. There were some dragon special summoning strats back in the day, and even now, obviously, it's way easier. You could easily set this up. Arguably, there are much better versions of this. Obviously, Darkness Metal Dragon, DMD, is based off this one, and Metal Dragon, so that's a very renowned card. But technically, this is searchable. You could probably make this work in certain builds. I just think there's one of the fusion monsters that's actually better if you're going to run a weird one-off monster. We'll talk about that one later. But certainly, like back in the day, considering it's a special summon, if you could get your Red Eyes onto the board, which obviously you could use Chick to go do, you know, and Chick is another dragon, by the way, that you would send to graveyard. So, like, that could be your, 2 to get as big as Blue Eyes itself. There were some plays. Now it's not very popular, as obviously evidenced by the fact that it's been reprinted as mostly a common. Ooh, the Speed Duels has a secret rare print. I might want to pick that up. It's probably very shiny. I mean, yeah, if you want to say that this is supposed to be the opposite of Blue Eyes Shining, yes. Shining was weird. This is definitely, like... I mean, like I said, this was in the Dragon's Roar structure deck, which was just Dragon Good Stuff. Let me see what actually was in that list. So you had regular Luster Dragons, you had Red Eyes Darkness, Red Eyes Black Dragon, you had Armed Dragon level 3 and level 5, you had Twin-Headed Behemoth, which is also a good way to get Tribute Fodder. Twin-Headed Behemoth, good card back in the day. Came with Pot of Greed, Trap Jammers, Dragon's Rage, Dragon's Bead. Dragon's Rage gives you piercing, Heavy Storm was in this structure deck. Swords Revealing Light. MST. There were Mass Dragons. There were 3 Mass Dragons in the deck, so you could do the full loop. Snatch Seal was in this? Fuck it, yeah, no. I forgot how many good shit cards I got from this deck back in the day. But yeah, no, like, there were lines here. Snatch Seal, obviously, you could go into, like, trying to set up a tribute for your Red Eyes, shit like that. Mass Dragons let you cycle, So, as just a big Dragon Bungus deck, this worked. This worked as a strategy. Again, that was 05, so not as a great strategy, but Dragon Good Stuff, had some longevity. Now we also have to introduce, there's a sub-theme to Red Eyes, because Red Eyes goes quiet for a little bit. After Darkness Dragon, we were moving on to, like, Darkness Dragon and Chick were obviously used in GX, like I said, by Atticus, by Night Shroud. And there's a few kind of, wombo combos there. But it goes silent for a lot of support for a little bit. Until we get to another side grade, Red Eyes Zombie Dragon. This is also very tiny. This came out in 08 in the Zombie World structure deck, so keeping kind of the structure deck slant versions.
It's weird how it's like,
Yeah.
this feels like Darkest Dragon that died. That's the way it looks at it, because it's all the
Yeah, it's
replaced with like Soul Flame.
definitely hearkening to Darkness's art. I'm not sure why.
But it's weird how it's like Red Eyes has become better as zombie support than actually Dragon Red Eye support.
Yeah, I feel like this is supposed to be like a harken back to the fact that Joey once went up against Bones, the Skull Kid, who did the zombie thing. That's where Zombie World as a concept comes from, making all your monsters zombies and shit. But again, like I said, this is Darkness Metal Dragon. I don't know. Maybe this is a reference to something that happened later in GX that I don't remember. Because remember, GX went for 4 seasons, one of which wasn't localized, so... This card was probably okay in the Zombie World structure deck in 8, though not the greatest. But it was in the Zombie World structure deck, so it set up stuff. It works much better in Zombie Synchro later when they retrain it, but this is a Dark Zombie level 7. 2400 attack, 2k defense. You can tribute summon this card in attack position by tributing a zombie monster. When this card destroys a zombie monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, special summon that zombie monster. So, yeah, it had a special summon tribute, or a tribute summon special condition. You're playing Zombie World, so you just make zombies and you can summon it. And then if it clears a zombie, which is just everything under Zombie World, you get to summon it back. It's mainly held back, I think, by its classic Red Eyes stat line. But again, they have improved this line over the year and kept this meme going. But yeah, there is one more in this era of very late GX, early 5Ds-ish. One more actual card. Again, not played anymore, but they attempted to do some stuff.
An attempt was made.
Yeah, they tried to give you the support. And I think you can tell how much people don't give a shit about this guy by the fact that I gotta, double search for his... I gotta, narrow down his card art. Okay, you guys get to see a fucking postage stamp for Red Eyes Wyvern.
Yeah.
Meh. I'm gonna double his size. Double it.
That's
Yeah,
tiny.
so-
Double.
Double it. This is Red Eyes Wyvern. And that is also just what the card art is. It's just, looks like a slightly smaller, less detailed Red Eyes who only has wings and no arms.
Yep. It's Darkness baby form.
And I do believe, yes, this was actually used in GX. And was a promo card for one of the Tag Force games, but did come out later as reprints. It was in a special edition of Ancient Prophecy. It was in a few other side sets. This is, like I said, Red Eyes had a problem with being promos and support cards. Oops, I clicked the wrong thing. Open my file browser. Didn't want to do that. I'm going to just double check that I'm scooching ahead in my time frame. But yeah, Wyvern, also, by the way, Wyvern continues another trend, which we're going to see for some stuff, which is, what the fuck attribute is this? Red Eyes Wyvern is a Wind Dragon, level 4, 1800 attack, 1600 defense. Once per turn during your end phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard, target a Red Eyes monster in your graveyard, special summon it. You can't normal summon or set the turn you activated this effect. So yeah, even my 08, 09 standards, this is a little slow, but they're trying, right? They're giving you a monster, a level 4 monster that has a stat line, and it has a graveyard effect. The problem is it's during your end phase, so you can't have normal summoned in the turn you set it up. So it's very weird and slow. But it exists, and as usual, we say an attempt was made.
Yeah. Not a great attempt, but something.
And honestly, I think you will understand why it took Konami until the anniversary type years to try and ratchet this back, because our next card is going to be the man, the myth, the legend, Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. First printed as a Shonen Jump promo but later printed in Absolute Power Force Special Edition and then as a common in the Dragons Collide structure deck, which was the Chaos Dragon structure deck. So, very readily available, right just in time for D-Rulers. But this guy has a couple of card arts. I will try to grab both of them if I can find them. I don't have the link again because Wikipedia is kind of back. They're working on it. They do still have some like non-cached images and some like long. They warn they may have loading times or maintenance, but they're getting some structural shit back. This is the second art. This is the art I own because it was the common reprint.
Yep.
Oh, hey, actually, hold on. I forgot.
It's like he bitch slapped you with his tail.
Hey, by the way, there was a second art for Metal Dragon. This, I think, is the manga pose. He's a lot skinnier, but still very derpy.
B.
Yeah, I can't seem to find... I mean, I can find a translucence of it. It's okay. We'll skip it. Oh, no, here we go. Found it, finally. Jeez. Sorry, going down fucking Google holes. Alright. This one's even bigger. I gotta, like, resize this a little. Let's try 50. And that gets there.
I have it. There's the normal art everyone's used to.
Yeah. Let me try and balance out this image size. Resize. Let's try this one to, like, 66. Shaved off some stuff. Hold on. Alright, and then... let me make sure I'm transparent. Oh, I gotta grab a lot closer. Yeah, I'm gonna resize it, chat. Alright, so now they're in comparable size. Bring them over. So I think the second art is better. The first art really is just Darkness Metal Dragon, but metally. Got maybe some extra Tron lines. The second art, you can't see it in much detail now that I've shrunk it, but...
I think it's generally fun, because I think Darkness Metal's actually... Or just Red Eyes Darkness Dragon, I think, is just one of, like, the better... Is, like, one of, like, the best Red Eyes designs.
Yeah. No, the angle on Wyvern was jank. It has like one long leg it's reaching out. But yeah, Darkness has I think a decent redesign. I don't know like if, maybe Kaz had some input on that for GX or just because it was going to be a GX card they decided to put some extra work into it. I don't know. But Darkness Metal Dragon here, you guys probably know what he does. But in case you don't, this is a iconic card, and honestly, I think this is part of the reason why future Red Eyes support is kind of held back a little. A lot of cards that support Red Eyes as an archetype are designed specifically to exclude Darkness Metal Dragon, which is fair because it's a really good card. It has historically been it has historically been both banned and limited until it was errated to have double hops because it was really fucking good. Especially as I said, it was released as a structure deck common about the time we got into Chaos Dragons and Dragon Ruler formats. But Darkness Metal Dragon is a level 10 Dark Dragon monster. It has 2800 attack, 2400 defense, so the same stats as just regular Black Metal Dragon, but betterer. You can special summon this card from your hand by banishing a face-up dragon you control. You can only special summon DMD once per turn this way. During your main phase, special summon a dragon monster from your hand or graveyard except DMD. You can only use this effect of DMD once per turn. That's the erratas to make both of those hopped. When this card originally existed, you could summon this as many times as you like, and I believe it was a soft once per turn on its summon effect. So you could bounce it with something like Gen X ally Birdman after setting up the summons to like keep getting him back and get resources. But yeah, DMD is an amazing card. In actual Red Eyes, I don't like to run too many copies, even though it's unlimited now. But this is just a good card. Just summon back a dragon from your hand or graveyard. Get a great way to cheat out both the original Red Eyes and also various other things. Depending on what decks you're using, the Banish a Dragon is not a problem. It's got a decent stat line. It's, like I said, 28. That beats up a lot of other monsters in its era, though still not enough to get over Blue Eyes. Unfortunately, in the era of other shenanigans, like Dragon Rulers and stuff, not enough to matter, because most people were not summoning, big assholes right away. But in general, yeah, it's a very, very fucking good dragon card. It has seen all kinds of play since it was printed at however many copies you could run. and still sees play in some dragon-themed decks even today, as it is, still good, even though it's a hopped. Just an extender is great. And just to put a point on how common it is, this card was a common included in Structure Deck Albaz Strike.
Albaz.
They also printed it in Hidden Arsenal Chapter 1, which was very weird, but I believe that was just so that we could have the errata out, along with the premium gold rare version. But it's been reprinted a fuck ton. But yeah, when we talk about later cards and even probably mention some of the spell traps, you'll notice that there's going to be a lot of Red Eyes cards that exclude, either they only hit normal monsters or they exclude monsters that are higher than level 7. Unfortunately, this fucks over a lot of other, what you would call, boss monsters in Red Eyes, which is bad. Because Red Eyes Black Dragon is not going to win you a duel. Just saying. But so,
Shame.
we're going to start moving down the line. Our next blob of cards came out in the Arc V era in either Clash of Rebellion or in the first Legendary Dragon set. And this was basically Konami's first brush at big boy legacy support for these kinds of things. So, like I said, this kind of predated where they went with, like I said, with the Blue Eyes and Dark Magician support that was really broken. Our first card, Black Metal Dragon. Again, not technically a Red Eyes card, but obviously related to them directly. This is meant to be kind of like an in-archetype replacement for Metal Morph. To that aspect, I think it works. I'm not a huge fan of Black Metal Dragon's art, though, to be honest, because it's kind of Red Eyes adjacent, but still not quite right in the proportions, right? Like, its headpiece doesn't really look like Red Eyes. Its feet are really fucked up and weird. Yeah, I get what they're going for here, but I think the card art could have been a little more on point. I also don't like its weird big tube wings or arms. Arm wings? I don't know. We could have tried a little bit better, but an effort was made. So, this is a Dark Dragon level 1 effect monster, 600/600. You can target a Red Eyes monster you control. Equip this card from your hand or field to this target. It gains 600 attack. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, add a Red Eyes card from your deck to your hand. So, they didn't know it at the time, but Black Metal Dragon combos very well with a later Red Eyes card that wasn't out yet. That was a couple of years away, but it, kind of works out that. In general, there's, I think, the new Black Dragon Nails card that they finally printed after that was in Duelist Kingdom a million years ago. That works better now if you want to do this kind of attack modulation for Red Eyes, but you may have noticed, Chad, I've talked about how Red Eyes monsters have a problem where a lot of critical boss monsters are centered around the 25 to 3K mark, and Red Eyes exists usually in the 24 to 28 space. Unless you can make a fusion monster, but of course, by the time this card came out in 2016, the OG vanilla fusions sucked ass. That's why they were both retrained. Unfortunately, they were retrained badly. Well, okay, I shouldn't say that. Their actual, we'll talk about them later, but Meteor Black Comet Dragon and Archfiend Skull Dragon, or Archfiend Black Skull, I think it's Archfiend Skull Dragon. Both of them have decent effects. Their problem is that their materials and their naming convention is way too picky to work out for, what you want to do with these decks usually. But Black Metal Dragon is just an attack modulator if it's sent from your field to the graveyard. So if a monster gets blown up or if it gets run over, you get to search a Red Eyes card, which is really good because that includes spell traps, which are fucking broken. And you'll notice that, oddly enough, Konami did not make this the shittiest they could have. This is not a Union monster. This is just a monster that has an equip effect.
Yeah. Unions.
So they kind of dodged the bullet of another old school mechanic, only to stumble into a different one. I honestly don't know why they made this not a Union monster, but made several other Red Eyes cards we're going to talk about soon, Gemini monsters. But technically, as Dallas said, you'll notice that there aren't really any extra deck monsters in Red Eyes yet, again, other than the vanilla fusions. There were a couple released in this era, but thanks to the power of Dragons of Legend, we also finally got some of the Waking the Dragons era cards that are ritual-based. Why? I don't know. Probably the best way for them to model this effect. But let's talk about Lord of the Red. Lord of the Red is a weird boy. There was a time, once upon a time, I think when he first came out in 2015, he was okay to work as a baseliner. It doesn't really work now. So, Lord of the Red, again, is not a Red Eyes card. You know, if he was Lord of the Red Eyes, maybe this would be better, but he's not. Also, he lacks some critical, again, talk about early support, and favoritism towards Dark Magician and Blue Eyes, something I haven't rambled too much about later, but might when we get to the end, when I talk about where we could go from here. Lord of the Red has a problem that cards like Dark Magician of Chaos and Illusion of Chaos and, you know, Blue Eyes Chaos and Chaos Max don't have. Lord of the Red is a fire dragon ritual, so he's fire, not dark. Again, we're being weird. And he's level 8, not level 7. You cannot, with one Red Eyes, make Lord of the Red. You need 2 monsters, which immediately puts it way down over a lot of ritual support for the other Duel Monsters signature cards. He's got 2400 attack, 2100 defense, so he goes up a level, but does not really gain any, you know, big stat for it other than 100 defense. Now, he is summoned with a spell card, ritual spell card, Red Eyes Transmigration. That is searchable in Red Eyes, so he is still in the Red Eyes zone. His effect is once per turn when an effect is activated, except Lord of the Red. Quick effect, target a monster, destroy it. Once per turn when a card is activated, target a spell trap, destroy it. So he gets 2 pops per turn. These are soft once per turns. Which is why they have that, I think, when another effect is activated, you know, quick effect. So, again, back in 2015, I don't think this card was terrible. It's just very bricky and hard to set up. Nowadays, it's... You're telling me I need to sack 2 monsters in my Red Eyes archetype, right? Because he's 8. To make a guy who just pops a spell and a monster per turn. When another card is activated. And he doesn't get any kind of stat growth.
Yeah.
It's... For trying to, like, make the Joey, you know, stealing the armor card monster effects from the Waking the Dragons arc, and that's clearly what this card art is, right? It's Joey wearing a Red Eyes suit. He has decided he is not a furry. He has thrown away the dog costume. He is, in fact, a scaly.
Just like Kaiba.
Yeah. I mean, look at her. Red Eyes Black Dragon's cute. She's got little hair decks, little pigtail things. Anyway.
At the fang.
Yeah. I think this card art is okay for what it is. I like the lightning effect. I'm pretty sure this is based on the shot in the anime where Joey did this. I don't know what the hell the color palette is. It's like green and purple in the backdrop. You know, it's a decent concept. This one is one of those things that I think is begging for a retrain. Like, if you're going to try and make that kind of thing work, maybe take this cross-duel art asset and, you know, make Lady of the Red Eyes or something, you know. Give the archetype its equivalent of Maiden with the Eyes of Blue. But,
Give us Tomboy.
There's definitely some, like, gaps in here that, even back in the day, this card would have been clunky, and now it's just not worth it because its effect's not that good. Making something that you could, like, immediately summon. I think, again, I understand what they were trying to avoid. They were trying to avoid, like, ARA spam that got them in trouble previously. But, again, I don't think Lord of the Red is worth worrying about being an ARA target. You'll notice this, chat. I think ever since DMD, but also possibly with Inferno Fire Blast. Inferno Fire Blast is a spell that just says, target a Red Eyes Black Dragon you control. Your opponent takes damage equal to its attack. Your opponent can't attack, or the Red Eyes can't attack the turn you activate this card. Technically, you can use 3 copies of Inferno Fire Blast, or at least 2 copies to FTK your opponent, but because it is called Inferno Fire Blast and is not searchable, it is very, very inconsistent to do as an FTK. But I think they've kind of danced around like whether or not Red Eyes should be doing burn FTKs and stuff, or should be able to turbo out certain cards, and so you see a lot of restrictions like this. Red Eyes Wyvern means you can't normal summon that turn. Lord of the Red is 1 level 2 higher that you can't, trade a Red Eyes for him. You can't ARA him. So there's some strong restrictions on this that I feel like, because of DMD and because of Inferno Fire Blast, Konami has been cautious with Red Eyes in a way they are not with Dark Magician cards and with Blue Eyes cards. I think as evidenced by, when we get to him, Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, who is just as much a Dark Magician card as a Red Eyes card. So I think there's definitely some stuff there. All right. Also, hey, talking about dunking on, Kaiba type stuff here, taking some shit back. We've got another ritual card back in the day, the Paladin of Dark Dragon. This is very clearly an opposite to the Paladin of White Dragon, the ritual monster that could be used to summon Blue Eyes. I think this is literally just that dragon.
Has a thing like this.
And now they do, or at least a few of them do. It took them a while to do that. There is the Armed Dragon version, and there's, I think, an Odd Eyes Paladin as well? Or is there a Galaxy Eyes Paladin? There's definitely a Galaxy Eyes Paladin.
There is Galaxy.
There is no Odd Eyes.
Okay. So there's a couple. It's funny that, like, mostly it's the big rival dragons, right? Like, it's Blue Eyes, Galaxy Eyes, Odd Eyes. I don't think Rocket or Boral needs this kind of effect because they all do that, but hypothetically,
they don't
right?
need rituals.
They have a ritual, I'm pretty sure, but they don't need it. They would be the kind of archetype, though, to run this. But then Red Eyes got it randomly, and this looks like it's just a palette swap of the Blue Eyes one. It's not a great card art. You'll even notice parts of it are blue when they could be maybe red. I don't know. It's a weird one. I'm not quite sure what this aesthetic is. I am also shocked, by the way, they haven't done any explicit Red Eyes or Amazon-S crossovers. That would be another, like, really good way to go, especially because Joey did Dual Mai multiple times. Also, other combos, you could do Red Eyes and Serpent Knight Dragon shit, because those were both dragons that were Rex Raptors boss monsters. You could do Dinosaur crossover. There's so much shit you could do. Hell, if you want to do ritual support, crossover with Cyber Angels, because, Atticus was Alexis's brother. There's a lot of weird shit.
Red Eyes.
Yeah, he played Red Eyes. There's a lot of aside shit you could do that they did not do for some reason. And instead, you get shit like Paladin of Dark Dragon. Paladin of Dark Dragon is a level 4 ritual monster, Dark Dragon ritual, 1900 attack, 1200 defense. So, I mean, for a level 4 ritual, decent stats. You can ritual summon with Dark Dragon ritual at the start of the damage step. If this card affects a defense position monster, do piercing. Oh, no, destroy that monster, sorry. So it's got a, like, Sasuke Samurai effect. You can tribute this card, special summon a Red Eyes monster from your hand or deck. You can use this effect of Paladin once per turn. Honestly, if it were for the fact that Dark Dragon Ritual is not searchable in Red Eyes, unlike Red Eyes Transmigration, Paladin of Dark Dragon would be a decent inclusion because he's a Red Eyes monster from your hand or deck. DMD doesn't have a must-be special summoned restriction. You can just special summon or normal summon that motherfucker any way you like. So,
Yeah.
Paladin of Dark Dragon could have some utility because he is remarkably unrestricted for a Red Eye support card. The problem is that both he and his ritual spell are non-searchable. The level 4 is even decent. Red Eyes runs a lot of level 4 monsters. So there's some utility here, but I think they just kind of missed the mark with the naming convention. Yeah, Dark Dragon Ritual even has a great effect. It's just tribute monsters whose levels equal 4 or more. But during your main phase, except the turn this card was sent, you can banish Dark Dragon Ritual from your graveyard to add a Red Eye spell trap, which could be Fusion, Insight, Return of Red Eyes, Red Eye Spirit, Red Eyes Burn. Like, for 2015, for Dragons of Legend, Paladin of Dark Dragon, probably a decent ask, a decent boy, but still not that good. Oh, hey, okay, so this is also from the anime. Okay. he used this against Mai. Is that why this guy looks like he's a boy Amazon-S? He's a male Amazon with his fucking abs out everywhere? I don't know. But there's some room here for making this better. That could be really useful, but it's a little too clunky, I think. I've tried a lot of Red Eyes combos. Paladin is an interesting idea, but he clogs your deck up a little bit because he's not searchable. And if you don't have the ritual card, he's fucking dead weight. So now, let us begin my favorite side arc. You've seen the ritual monster side arc. You've seen how, like, for the time period, the cards were decent, but kind of hamstrung by, like, weird level or weird archetyping restrictions, you know. They were, you know, them making cards that existed in the Waking the Dragons arc, the Atlantis arc. In, like, 2015, they tried. Now we're about to enter the Gemini arc. Why? I literally don't fucking know. I think it's because there's a Gemini version of Gearfried that was kind of unrelated, but they made some Gemini monsters. And they're not great. Okay, here we go. Got him. So, let us behold the first of these boys, because names and alphabets are a thing. Red Eyes Archfiend of Lightning. This is both a Red Eyes and Archfiend card.
Okay, sorry, I know I haven't said much, but it's been fun listening. It's just been fun listening to Omega talk about his favorite archetype, but I need to start getting it.
All right, he's got to bounce. My party is dwindling. That's okay,
I know, right?
Axe, you're still here, and you get to... This is the fun part, if you want to hear me kvetch about the game design part. But let's talk about this card art
You guys
first.
have a fun one.
I just stepped
Talk to
away
you
for like a brief moment, but I'm still listening. I just need to.
Well, so card art wise, well, I got a vamp then, I guess. This is clearly supposed to be a you know, Summon Skull doing a Red Eyes cosplay. He actually has red eyes. There's actually lightning. I kind of like what they're going for with like the black dragony bits. Like he's got the extra wings, the shoulders. He kind of looks like a miniature Black Skull dragon. So this card art is all right. I think the face is a little weird because I can't tell if that's supposed to be his eyes or his nose, or maybe he has 4 eyes. I don't know. Chet, I feel like my speak speed is speeding up because I'm just sitting here sweating. It's
I honestly think it's maybe like the best rendition of like, or maybe the most modern rendition of just drawing like the Yu-Gi-Oh! Archfiend aesthetic of the insectoid bug armor man.
Yeah, the weird, your bones are on the outside, also your muscles are showing shit. Yeah, no, this is definitely a modern card. I think it works. There's a couple of weird nitpicky details, but I like that he's actually, you know, got lightning in there and shit. They're trying. Unfortunately, he's kind of a... I don't want to say he's the worst card. When they did the Legacy Chronicle event in Master Duel, I had a copy of this guy in my deck because sometimes he just works. For a lot of later Red Eyes synergy, because I should point out, this guy is explicitly a Red Eyes card. He is Red Eyes Archfiend of Lightning. In Japanese, this is Red Eyes Lightning Lord, Evil Demon. I think Lightning Lord works better, because that's alliterative, but, you know, they had to make it work with Archfiend. So, this is a Dark Fiend Gemini monster, who is a level 6. He has the same stats as Summon Skull, 25-12. This card is treated as a normal monster while face up on the field or in the graveyard. While this card is a normal monster on the field, you can normal summon it to have it become an effect monster with this effect. Once per turn, destroy face-up monster your opponent controls with def lower than this card's attack. So, this guy actually works as a decent sweeper if you can summon him. Special summoning Red Eyes monsters is not hard out of your graveyard, especially while they're normal monsters. His attack stat being 25 actually matters for certain other cards you can do. So this card is pretty good. The main thing holding him back is just how Geminis work, which is, if Gemini monsters counted as, and I think, by the way, this should just be a broad errata that would unfuck Gemini monsters. Gemini monsters should count as normal monsters everywhere. They should count as normal monsters in your hand and in your deck. That would probably just royally unfuck all Gemini monsters everywhere. If you made them count as normals, every single person. But yeah, Archfiend is okay. I don't want to say he's the worst because I have literally used him and gotten his effect off. As I said, he's a 1 tribute monster that has more attack than most base Red Eyes type cards. So there's some utility It's just Geminis are very awkward, unfortunately. Also, I mentioned this earlier, but I want to shout out again. This guy's a fiend. This is a thing that we start to see. They kind of had this with some of their things. Obviously, the original Metal Dragon was a machine, but this is when Konami really embraces the idea of like, fuck it, Red Eyes can be whatever type. We don't care. So this one's a fiend. And he's a decent one. Now, this next one, actually, I swear by this next card. I have used it to great effect. I made it all the way to the very end of the point ladder in the Legacy, the Legend Anthology event. I have the special title for that, with Red Eyes. Red Eyes all the way, baby. Why? Because my opponents could not read, ever. My opponents refused to understand how Red Eyes cards work, and that is what gave me victory. So, let us show off our next one. This one is... it's time for the retrain. Red Eyes Black Flare Dragon. Red Eyes got that fire theme going on, so it's a Red Eyes. It's a classic Red Eyes. He has arms, but now the Red Eyes is on fire. And while I'm not 100% fan of this pose, I do think the fire effect actually works. Red Eyes has got some flame auras and some flame fiending before, so making him fiery, I think actually, procs. It works. It does function. But yeah, this is meant to be the retrain of Red Eyes. So personally, I like this card, especially I like this card in Master Duel, because Red Eyes Alternative still isn't in Master Duel. I guess they haven't figured out that negotiation with, I assume, Kazuki Takahashi's estate or whatever.
Or honestly, looking at this one, what was the name of this one again? Sorry.
This is Black Flare Dragon.
Honestly, this feels like a better design for the scale and like width of the cards compared to the other ones. Because like, think of like, I might tangent for this, but like it's point across. Think of Blue Eyes as the very wide and large lumbering kind of dragon.
Yeah.
I've always I feel like if you do like the more like Wyvern to like Drake kind of thing with Red Eyes, where it's like there's like hordes of them and it's like it blocks out the clouds and like it's amongst volcanoes and it's like stuff you'd see in like a Souls game or like Dragon's Dogma, like those kind of dragons of like it's metallic and bladey and like covered in fire.
Yeah. This aesthetic does work. And I just want to say in general, you talk about pulling out the scale. That's actually something I should mention. This is a card art that's pulled back. You can see all of the Red Eyes. Some of the early arts of Red Eyes and even Blue Eyes, the original Blue Eyes card art that's kind of like got his neck bent at like a 90-degree angle. Some of those are very squished up. This one's pulled back, so you can see all the details without like making the perspective absolutely dog shit.
I like
that's
it.
Good.
Considering how Red Eyes originally was designed as like literally a Tetri figure card, because it was meant to be like, I think it only has 2400 just so Dark Magician could beat it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I feel like it'd have like it'd be like I feel like otherwise it'd have like 2800 attack to be like
no. I think by the old school rules of like Duelist Kingdom, it is supposed to be less than Dark Magician, but it's still supposed to be like right on that cusp for a really rare card because it's it's 24 and it has decent defense, but it's bigger than, for instance, Gaia, another level 7, and it's bigger than Serpent Night Dragon, which was Rex's previous boss monster, right? It's supposed to be right on that cusp. The problem is that, like I said, in modern Yu-Gi-Oh!, despite the fact that our attack numbers are in the hundreds and thousands, right? The difference between 24 and 25 is still a difference. So,
honestly,
I
feel like
kind of
the
in a
issue
weird
is
space.
that they made. I think the issue is they made Dark Magician technically too weak.
Yeah, I think
like, the long scheme of it.
For the
I think it should have like it should have had like 2800 or something.
Yeah, Dark Magician probably, or maybe like 26. Like I think they didn't really know where the level gap was. 25 has kind of settled as the protagonist ace area, which unfortunately, like I said,
like
that leaves
7,
that kind of like leaves Red Eyes in the weird like side space.
It leads to a weird thing of how 25,000 is seen as kind of the stat line of a generic level 7, also a rank 4.
Yeah.
If it is at least for Utopia, where that has an effect that is situational
or like
and usually not
a sync 7 with a good effect. Stardust is 25, isn't it?
I think so. It is.
Yeah.
It is 25-20.
Yeah, Utopia's 25. Elemental Hero Neos is 25, though it took them a while to
Sadly,
get there
like,
because
none of the Borals don't have a primary card that's like Project Boral was more of oddly enough kind of like the Blue Eyes of like that
I mean,
series. But technically he wasn't because it was more of a dude who never got his cards released, even though he fought literally every character of the main cast.
yeah, there's some weird overlap there. The actual Boral cards, the extra deck monsters, are around 3K, so they fill that role. But yeah,
His name is a Galaxy, but it's like
there's
it's
a lot of
thing
weirdness.
There's not really other. There's no other. Well, here's where to compare it. There's no other Zeppeli archetypes.
Yeah, there's no secondary protagonist. And honestly, Yu-Gi-Oh does have those. I mean, I guess you could argue, right? Like for 5Ds, for instance, obviously, you've got Stardust Dragon, you've got Red Dragon Archfiend.
There's actually Crow
Black
Crow
Rose is kind of
became the Droid. Akiza never got to. She just got,
yeah,
you know,
but
it was more
Black Rose
well,
Dragon is
became
the
Joey.
7, but it has a good effect.
I think all the Black Wings are basically the Red Eyes archetype, considering it's how like they were decent, but they were just never good.
They were
enough
all
outside of
right.
basic
I feel like if that was meant
they're
to be
Edison.
like if Crow was supposed to be like that kind of like supporting protagonist role, and they
I think he was because sadly Jack was meant to be the Blue Eyes character.
yeah,
with,
Jack
with
was meant to be the
Dragons.
rival who kind of flips. But like, Blackwings got done better than Red Eyes, if only because they released 5 million Blackwings, so eventually they're good.
It's
Red Eyes is
because
a lot
everyone
more
liked the
compact.
aesthetic, which is like that's fair. Blackwings are
delinquent
metal.
crows.
They look like the pictures on metal cover.
But yeah, so Black Fur Dragon is meant to be kind of like the retrain version. Usually it ends up being, Red Eyes Black Dragon copies like, 5, 4 and 5, maybe 5 and 6 kind of a thing. It's a level 7 Dark Dragon Gemini, same stats as Red Eyes. Treat as normal monster will face up on the field or in the graveyard, which is very important. If this card's a normal monster, you can summon it. It has this effect. If damage calculation is performed involving this card at the end of the battle phase, inflict damage to your opponent equal to this card's original attack. You lose this effect of Black Flare once per turn. I have won so many games off Black Flare just because it has such a weird burn effect that your opponent doesn't really know what to do with it. So you can absolutely just attack with Black Flare and then be like, okay, you take 24 at the end of the battle phase, bye. 24 is over a quarter of your total life point value. It can be a closer. The main thing is just having it get its Gemini effect out. But remember, it's a normal monster in your graveyard. Red Eyes, right around this time, this is when Red Eyes establishes the graveyard. That's my second deck, baby. Because I think Return of the Red Eyes is around this time. Red Eye Spirit obviously comes in around these times. So it's easier to set up than and much more better at winning games than Archfiend. It's also a level 7, so that lets you get into rank 7 plays, which we will be talking about in a second, because this is the era when they got their one Xyz monster. Though I think Queen Dragon Jin can be an honorary Red Eyes Xyz monster because of how many level 4s you have. But yeah, the Gemini monsters have some weird options. For instance, I have in a lot of decks use Catalyst Field as a makeshift Red Eyes card because it lets you normal summon a high-level Gemini monster without tributing. And then you can normal summon twice, so it lets you set up the boys. But it's still a little weird. We also get our Rock during this period.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's time for the Blackstone of Legend. Not a lot to say about this card art, but it's your Dragon Egg. It's definitely invoking like what Whitestone was supposed to be invoking, but also I think has some callbacks to GX because Jaden first fought Night Shroud, Evil Atticus in a volcano, which is where I believe Black Dragon Chick comes from.
I kind of wish that like Red Eyes kind of branched out into having its own thing to like it, the way where it paralleled Dark Magician, like where it paralleled Dark Magician and Blue Eyes, because I kind of wish we had like I kind of want like the I kind of want like the Volcano Shaman cult.
Yeah, I think that like so I don't think it's explicit. Let me double check if Joey ever used Keeper of the Shrine, but I don't think he does. Every wiki and stuff says that Keeper of the Shrine is like a Red Eyes card. Yeah, it has no appearances. I don't.
Red Eyes just became part of Dragon.
Yeah, I
Dragon
don't know.
cards in
I guess
general?
it's because he's a dark dragon and he's kind of reddish. I don't know. You would use Keeper of the Shrine in some versions of the Red Eyes deck because he's a really good card. He came out in Clash of Rebellions, which is the same set as all this Red Eyes support. But like he's never been associated with Joey. It was put in the Rise of the True Dragon structure deck, in the Rocket structure deck, in the structure deck Seto Kaiba from 2016. It might have been in Joey's deck in Legendary Decks too.
Part of why I kind of want like the whole thing is because like with the corner of like the personified version of Red Eyes, I kind of want like the tan-skinned, like red-eyed.
Well, and like I said,
people.
there's fucking hey, there's another synergy you could put there. Amazons exist. We know they live in like
I kind of
jungles.
want like volcano Amazons. Like
So you
the
could
weird,
do like a bridge there. You could make the volcano Amazonas tribe worship dragons instead of tigers. By the way, I'm just gonna throw up Keeper of the Shrine's art. I think he's pretty cool. Like for an aesthetic, like he's an old dragon man. He was
he
in.
He does look kind of Red Eyes-ish, but he looks.
He
like
was
he
in
looks
Joey's
like
deck
a
in
Draconid.
Legendary Decks too, but that came out in like 2015, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's just it was a good support card for it.
It's like I always saw like the Order of Blue or like
Yeah, the Eyes of
Eyes
Blue.
of Blue. I always saw as like more of a to be comparable as like to really to be like a matchup to the various other magicians part of like the dark magical order.
Yeah, there's the colored magician girls. There's a couple of like their skilled dark magician and shit. There's
like,
there's a
I
few.
always look at dark magician
combos.
as a bunch of students essentially. So
Yeah, there's and certainly like the card art plays up. One of their cards is bond between teacher and student. The order of like dark magician to dark magician girl. There's apprentice illusion magician, the retrain. There's
I really want to see.
Some
I
other
really want to see Dark
implications.
Magician Girl. I know it's like a thing, but I kind of want to see like an art of Dark Magician Girl who becomes basically her own version of Chaos Magician, which I usually was like the zenith of the Dark Magician anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I they gave her Dragon Knight at least, but I feel like Girl is a little
It's
like
hard to come on.
underappreciated as like she could use some more evolved forms.
She's got a rival card in Apprentice, the Lucid Magician, considering there's also like the other version of Dark Magician, which I feel like
Technically,
should
Girl-
become its own card honestly at some point.
Girl became a lot better with the field spell release.
Yeah, I do actually
So
see people
maybe-
playing her in Master Duel, but I'd like to see like a ramped up version of her, like a ritual version or something. Just because
Dark
I
Magician Girl
like to see
Chaos-
like
Chaos
different,
Girl.
yeah, Dark Magician Girl of Chaos or
Well,
Chaos
actually, no,
Magician
Chaos
Girl.
Sorceress. Dark
I think there might actually be
Chaos
a
Sorceress.
Chaos Sorceress already. Plus,
But,
Chaos
like-
Sorcerer exists and is not Dark Magician, though he does look very.
But yeah,
There is
it's just
Chaos
like-
Sorceress.
I feel like I just kind of want to see her like fully grow up and like see if when she
There's definitely
succeeds
some
him,
shit
you know?
we could do here. Yeah. So I've pulled up.
Dark magic magical.
So I've pulled up the first of our retrains of the fusion monsters. This is Archfiend Black Skull Dragon. Fiendo Dragon, Black Demon's Dragon.
I
Now,
don't like this as much as the first one.
no,
but I
this
like
one's
it.
very modern Yu-Gi-Oh! It's very busy. I think Red Eyes Archfiend of Lightning looks a little bit better.
So,
Also, I'm
Amanda,
gonna be real.
Yeah.
If you showed me this card art and told me nothing about it, this is an armed dragon monster.
Yeah, it does have kind of like an armed dragon
No,
face,
actually, no.
doesn't
It looks like Armed Dragon Archfiend.
Yeah, I mean it's very
that's
clearly
what I
got
was
the summoned skull bits, like the chest and legs.
So, Omega, here's a dumb thing that I think you might find funny. Take this in like the Archfiend of Lightning one. I just get like Monster World, like Monster Hunter, like subbreed vibes.
Well, so art-wise, this is very clearly supposed to be Red Eyes Archfiend of Lightning and Black Flare Dragon together because it's got like the fire
It's
wings
just-
and
It's
the
Flare
lightning.
Archfiend, yeah.
Yeah.
Except neither of those cards are played very much.
They're usable though.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they're okay. And in Master Duel, because you can't play alternative Red Eyes anyway, you might as well play some number of Flare Metal as your extra copies of Red Eyes. Because God forbid you actually execute the attack. 2,400 damage is a lot, but and you would like sevens, which is there's other cards that also do that 7 representation, but some of them aren't in Master Duel yet either. So
I've generally seen Comet being the most used.
interesting. People are actually using Comet. I don't like Comet a lot. I mean, you use Comet for
Well,
the effect or meteor impact.
So, fun
Comet
fact,
Dragon is the big boss. It works.
Because, oh no! What's the Red Eyes Gemini monster?
That's Meteor Dragon Impact.
Yeah, that's the one I see used a lot.
I use at least one copy of it
you
to.
can toss it for normal summon.
Yeah,
stuff.
you can
For
do
normal
some shit.
monster stuff.
But also, like I said, Flare works as well. But chat, I would like you to notice something very important about Archfiend Black Skull Dragon. Hey, does the name Red Eyes appear anywhere in this?
No.
No.
Nope, it's not a Red
This
Eyes
is
monster.
why Red Eyes Fusion says that that monster's name becomes Red Eyes Black Dragon on the field. The problem is that all of your archetype revival shit, Red Eyes in the graveyard. So Archfiend Black Skull Dragon, I think, is the fusion monster other than the old vanillas that is used the least because it has... Oh, careful, Dallas. This is a very sharp squeak. Careful. It can hurt some people's ears.
Sorry.
It almost hurt.
But, yeah, Black Skull Dragon I think, is the least used out of the newer fusions just because its materials become very awkward. So, especially because, let me see, this was printed in Clash of Rebellions. I think that was the same set as Red Eyes Fusion.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let me read Red Eyes Fusion really briefly to you. Mostly because I would like you to keep this in mind and mentally compare it to, first of all, Secrets of Dark Magic, a fucking phenomenal card. And, because it's a quick play that's both a ritual and a fusion card, and Ultimate Fusion, which is also a quick play. Red Eyes Fusion, normal spell card. Fusion summon one fusion monster that lists a Red Eyes monster as material from your extra deck, using monsters from your hand, deck, or field as fusion material. If you do, its name becomes Red Eyes Black Dragon. You can't normal or special summon other monsters the turn you activate this card. You can only activate Red Eyes Fusion once per turn. So, this card was printed in mid-2015. I think Shadow Fusion existed around this time.
Yes.
Yeah. So, for its time, good card. Hand, deck, or field. Just fusion monster that lists Red Eyes. Very solid. Becomes Red Eyes Black Dragon, so you can use some of the support. Okay. Nowadays, way too slow. Dead ends you in fusion summoning.
Yeah.
And
It's
also, the from deck respect means it's very awkward to work with those Gemini monsters because Geminis don't count as normal monsters in the deck. Now let me read you
that's the
Archfiend
biggest
Black Skull
problem.
Dragon. Dark Dragon Fusion effect. Level 9, 3225, same stats as Black Skull. 1 level 6 Archfiend normal monster. 1 Red Eyes normal monster. So, hey, despite the fact that this was printed in the same set as Fusion, this is an awful Red Eyes Fusion target. Because half the current new released Red Eyes monsters don't count as normal monsters in the deck. Now, if you're playing the Dragon's Mirror variant, where all your shit's in the graveyard, that's fine. Unfortunately, that requires you to banish. That requires you to, play an unsearchable fusion card instead. It's a valid variant, but it's not as spicy because, as we've said, Red Eyes Insight and several other Red Eyes Fusion, Red Eyes searching cards, fucking crazy. Brazy, even. So it's very awkward. By the way, also, you can only summon Archfiend Black Skull Dragon once per turn. Again, don't know why this restriction exists. Red Eyes Fusion is already once per turn. If this card battles, your opponent's cards and effects can't be activated until the damage step, so it gives them an Armades effect. If damage calculation is performed using this fusion summon card at the end of battle phase, target a Red Eyes monster in your normal monster in your graveyard, inflict damage to your opponent equal to its attack in the graveyard, shuffle it into the deck. So on paper, Archfiend Black Skull Dragon should be a fucking phenomenal card. You should have possibly 2 targets in your deck to shuffle back and inflict big damage. And your opponent has an Armades effect, so they cannot get you out. The problem? It's so limited. It's very hard to make with Red Eyes Fusion, obviously, which is where the archetype has gone. Its burn effect only works when it's fusion summoned. Go for it.
I still do think Red Eyes Fusion is one of the best fusion archetype spells in Yu-Gi-Oh! Mostly because of the deck thing. Because really its only competition are, Brilliant Fusion, which is banned. TD Fusion, which I do think is the best, personally the best spell fusion. El Shadal Fusion, because Shadal Fusion is also kind of...
It's a little outdated.
Not the same. And then Neos Fusion, which is arguably in a worse archetype than Red Eyes.
Yeah, it's true.
It's
I mean,
debatable,
I would also
but
say Dallas.
it's up
I
there.
think Ultimate Fusion is in that there as well. The Blue Eyes one,
I guess. Yeah.
because it's a quick play. Ultimate Fusion
Isn't
is
it only hand or field?
no. Fusion summon a monster from your action deck that mentions Blue Eyes White Dragon or Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon by shuffling fusion materials from your hand, field, or graveyard into the deck. So hand, field, or grave.
Okay.
And you can destroy face-up card your opponent's controlled up to the number of Blue Eyes White Dragons and Ultimate Dragons on the field as material. So it can be a pop as well. And it's a quick play.
I still think Red Eyes Fusion is better, personally.
Well, yeah,
just
Red Eyes
because
Fusion
it's
is
from
better
deck
because
fusion.
it sets up your graveyard, which Red Eyes wants. It's much better in archetype. The problem is with Red Eyes
and
Fusion... Go ahead.
I also forgot to mention Evocation.
Yeah,
That's the
Invocation is
other
a fucking
one.
stupid
The
card.
card's nuts.
But the problem with Red Eyes Fusion is mostly the targets.
Yeah, it's the results. Other
You
than
you
Brigade.
are limited to one summon that turn. That monster better be good. Unfortunately, a vast majority of Red Eyes monsters are not that good. You've already seen
There
what the
is
problem with
definitely
Archfiend Black Skull Dragon. It's actually a decent card. It's just overly restricted and doesn't synergize
Can't
with
you
Fusion.
summon before
No.
Red Eyes Fusion?
You can't summon monsters other than the monster you fuse that turn. You
I
can
have to
set
ask now.
before or after.
I think I've asked this for like last year, but it's like I feel like Red
Right,
Eyes Fusion
Verte
is not a
cheats
bad
around
card.
that.
It just needs restricted to be changed, I think, to being that you can only summon Red Eyes monsters afterwards. Or this
Yeah.
turn you've only summoned Red Eyes cards.
I think that would probably not overly restrict them if you could get some other boys out. And as Dallas
Yeah.
brought up, the way Verte works is Verte doesn't have the restrictions. It limits you to certain monsters after you summon, so you
Yeah.
can still do some stuff.
Like I said, it's not like just the toss from deck is enough of an upside that I still call it one of the best in the game, just because it's like
Yeah, I mean, it's
that's
so...
actually a fusion spell. Because people are going to bring up Metal Foes Fusion. Yes, that is one of the best fusion cards in the game. Has nothing to do with its fusion
Yeah,
effect.
it's the fact that it replaces itself is really important.
It's consistent.
Yeah,
It's consistent. with your-
literally people play it in decks without Metal
Metal
Foes
Foes
cards
Fusion.
just to shuffle it back.
Yeah, like that's a different card.
Yeah. But yeah, so Archfiend Black Skull has the problem that he's really hard to make in your own archetype. I basically don't play him anymore these days, even though he should be a really good card. The problem is just actually getting him on the board would require them to change how the rules work.
Can I tell you one of the saddest stories in all of Yu-Gi-Oh?
Sure, go for it.
Oh my god. So this card has the distinction of one of the most, I don't know if it's the most, but it's one of the most directly pushed skills in Duel Links,
Oh.
and it still didn't make it good. I want to bring up the exact skill because it's fucking ridiculous.
Will you be okay
It's
looking
called
it
a
up for a sec
bingo
while
something.
I pause her? I step away to refill my water bottle real quick because I'm sweating like a
Yeah,
dog.
sure.
So Dallas will look that up. I'll be right back, chat.
Yeah, here it is.
Okay, I'm back. It's so warm.
Yeah, I found the skill. Listen to this absolute nonsense.
Yeah.
It's called Red Eyes Roulette. Select one monster from the list below and add it to your deck from outside of your deck. Then one random Red Eyes card from your deck to your hand. Then return one Red Eyes card from your hand to your deck. This skill will only activate if you begin the duel with a deck that has 10 or more Red Eyes cards, including at least 5 Red Eyes monsters. The cards that can be added to your deck from outside are Red Eyes, Archfiend of Lightning, Summon Skull, Meteor Dragon, Red Eyes Impact, Meteor Dragon, Gearfried the Red Iron Knight, or Gearfried the Iron Knight.
Yeah.
And it still didn't make Red Eyes a top tier deck. It's still just a weird deck that is sometimes relevant because people keep doing it. And sometimes they take tournament spots because they're just like, no one's prepared for Red Eyes.
Yeah. And I think that's generally, like, I think you were, this is while you were stepped away again, but I mentioned I made it to the very, very top of the Legend Anthology ladder. Got the title, playing Red Eyes the entire time. Mostly on the back of the fact that my opponents failed to read a Red Eyes card. They just didn't understand what Red Eyes did and never knew how to react to anything.
Just assumed it was bad.
Omega, I understand that, but also I have had the same thing with Punk. Because
well, yeah, but Punk is a much
Psychic and Punisher.
Yeah,
they just don't read Psychic and Punisher. They're like,
Punisher.
Well, I destroy. Why it no blow up?
Yeah.
Why it no go boom?
Because he don't go boom.
I don't get why people don't understand. Like, you should always assume most boss monsters, even if you don't know how to physically read the card's language, will have usually destruction protection.
Something. They got something going on. So let's, there are other Waking the Dragon type cards released during this time period. Let's talk about another Red Eyes fusion monster. It's Red Eyes Black Dragon Sword. I'm sure this is how this looked in the anime. This card art is very derpy. This is not a great sword. But look, there's a ghost image of Red Eyes in it. Ooh. Spooky Red Eyes. Now, that said, I want to bring this up. Personally, talking about, doing that Legend Anthology run and shit, I want to say this. Depending on what build of a Red Eyes deck you are doing, I think that Sword is actually relevant. And you'll see why in a sec. However, you have to remember how Sword works. I also saw during the Legend Anthology several people, because Red Eyes was one of the loner decks, as Dallas crushes cans or something. Several people misplay with Sword because they did not read Sword. They were just like, Claw of Hormers, it makes Sword. What do we do? He's server mute now, so he can unmute himself when he's ready to stop making noise. But anyway, so Dragon Sword, I don't think there's a lot to say about this card art. It exists. It is a Dark Dragon Fusion, level 7 monster. Same stats as Red Eyes. Must be special summoned with Claw of Hermos using a Dragon monster. If this card is special summoned, target one other face-up monster on the field. Equip this card to it. This is not optional. This is mandatory. Do not summon Red Eyes Black Dragon Sword if you have no other monsters, especially if your opponent doesn't have any other monsters. Anyway, it gains 1,000 attack and 500 attack and defense for each dragon monster in the field and graveyards. So it basically turns it into Buster Blader. So, hey, why I say this is good? Red Eyes has an equip focus later. Well, we haven't got to those cards yet, but we'll talk about them. We're currently in the Gemini era, which is all right. It'll take a little bit for us to get out of here, but it's okay. But what Sword does in this context is it lets you push for game and emphasizes your equipped focus cards. All right. Because remember, that's, again, minimum, because of how Claw of Hermos works, you have to send a dragon to activate its effect. That's minimum 1,500 attack up. I have made, like, gained 8k off this thing before. Like, I have made some ludicrously beefy boys with Sword. So Sword works in certain contexts, but you have to use it from a very specific field position. So I don't really recommend it normally. It's just if you're running a version of the deck that uses Slash Dragon, who we'll talk about later, it's valuable. And probably the least shit of the Hermos fusion cards, except maybe the... I think one of them does some weird bounce stuff or destroy stuff.
I think the biggest... Sorry. I think the biggest issue with this card and with... Like, it's good. It's okay to use in Master Duel, but the biggest problem is this card uses an extra deck slot.
Yeah.
That's honestly its biggest problem.
Yes. It's
Because Red Eyes actually has some good options in the extra. By
It's got a
virtue of
couple.
being dragons.
Yeah, it's got a couple things, and depending on what you're using. Obviously, like you said, Red Eyes Fusion is archetype locked, so it's hard to set up First of the Dragons if you're not running like Dragon's Mirror or something. Basically, this is a weird thing about Red Eyes. Red Eyes has too many cards, honestly, in all aspects. You've got a lot of really good spell traps, but you have to play some number of monsters so you can actually use them and win the game. So there's some awkwardness here. But let's talk about probably, until we get to the Goon, the best Red Eyes boss monster. Because, technically, Red Eyes kind of cameoed in Zexal, so they get an Xyz monster. It's time for the original Tax Dragon. This is Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon. So yeah, I don't quite know what's going on with his face. Also, he has fucking
really like
exhausts, it's a little weird, but I do like this. I think this is supposed to be either Flare Dragon or regular Red Eyes wearing the Black Metal Dragon, which doesn't make any goddamn sense because this is an Xyz monster, but he looks good. I own 3 copies of this, I think in like Super or Ultra. Yeah, I own a playset. You don't need a playset, but it's funny. You might want a playset these days. Yeah.
I might contest you that this is better than Dragoon. And here's my reasoning.
Oh yeah?
This is in way more decks.
Well, it's true.
This is the 7th. I'll say this. To put it this way, this is the I would say 3rd or 4th best 7 Xyz. And if you know the 7 Xyz pool, that's not an insult.
It's true. Yeah. I mean, you can tell since Verte has been banned that the utility of Dragoon has gone down a lot. Before Verte even got banned, he was basically entirely replaced by DPE. We'll be talking about that when we actually get to Dragoon. But anytime you can run 7s, Flare is a good guy. I think when we talked about Harpy, I talked about how, personally, I treat this guy as basically a Harpy boss monster with Channeler because it's one of the best 7s you can summon that way.
Guys, okay, I'm back. Oh wow, this card actually looks really good. Zuno zooms in.
Yeah.
Actually,
To me, it goes probably. Number 1 is hard. I would say Dracosac, then Big Eye.
I can tell Dallas hasn't
I
played
might
any
play him out. I
Kashtira
might
format
play him
because
out.
he's not. I don't think he's considering Diabolus the Mind Hacker in this equation.
or just Our Eyes Heart itself.
That's a
yeah.
meta. That's a meta pick. I'm just
not anymore.
I don't know. Like you get to snipe a card out of their extra deck always. I don't think Diabolus is a meta pick.
It's a good card.
I can't put it over Big Eye and Dracosac. I just can't. Especially.
I mean,
Dracossack.
I think I would put it over Dracossack these days. Dracossack is okay, but it's still not the best. There's a lot of different ways to handle like its protection effect and
7s
stuff.
are very good.
I
Yeah,
have
7s
to
in
ask.
general are great. Good.
So guys, I had to go wait for. Am I muted?
No,
I'm
you're
not.
here.
Okay.
Yeah, we good. Yeah.
I had to step away because people get lost in my fucking apartment building when I order food, so I have to direct them outside my house.
That is sucky, but not unheard of.
Yeah, the hood is it's. Okay, Dallas.
Clank, clank, scoop. Yes,
let's
go ahead,
see,
X.
what did I miss? Before this one, what did I miss? 'Cause
Just
I had
sword.
to step away for like. Oh, just okay. Yeah, I heard you guys talking about it. I didn't see the art, but well, I think you briefly showed this. I think you briefly showed this, but what was the one that was like entire looks like this is Flare Dragon wearing the body of that other Dallas? Oh my God, just please mute your stuff.
Black Metal Dragon.
Black Metal Dragon, because it's like
Dallas doesn't mute himself and continues to scoop his food. Okay, I think he
But
may have
it's
killed
like
his push.
I remember a really tiny one that was like entirely metallic.
Yeah, that was Black Metal Dragon. I've said it like 4 times.
Oh, okay. Right.
I know it's a little nondescript, but yes.
Because it sounds like it makes you think of the other one.
I know, but that's the point there. But
Red
yeah,
Eyes Metal Dragon.
it's definitely
Okay.
that guy.
But,
That
like,
guy's part of this.
It looks like Flare Metal wearing black metal as armor.
Yeah.
In like a good way. Like it looks good.
Yeah, this was what we were talking about before. But yeah, this is like I said, this is arguably one of the better boss monsters in Red Eyes to this day.
Is it
Has there ever
is
been?
it wrong that my description for this is what if Red Eyes went to Burning Man?
No, I think that works. He's got some chrome
He
stuff.
looks like a Mad Max vehicle in a good way.
Yeah, he's like I said. I talked about he's got the exhaust ports that are spitting fire for some reason.
Honestly,
I don't know why, but it's pretty cool.
Omega, we need like Red Eyes magical scientist. I think.
What's that Robo?
No, I don't think we do.
No, because because like half the Red Eyes cards are also them just becoming cyborg dragons.
I mean, I think that's just part of like remember the original Red Eyes Black Metal was a machine. They thankfully skipped that.
What I'm saying
but
though is,
there's
I know what I'm saying though
weird
is like I feel like if they ever made like non-dragons cards that are support, or I guess they could make dragon, whatever. But it's like volcano shamans, but also like mad scientists.
I appreciate you. Red Eyes doesn't need to go in another fucking direction.
I think you're trying a little too hard. The easy solution is called Red Eyes Psycho Shocker. Make Jinzo a Red Eyes. We're done.
Do that.
Do actually do
Tiny
that.
Jinzo
Fuck you.
cards.
Make it so your opponent can't activate
Red
trap
Eyes
cards.
Insect Queen. I want the body horror. Of
No,
that.
yeah, no. I think you should. I've always said this. I think they
Make the
should make.
pile real. Make the pile searchable.
I think they should make a version of Red Eyes Fusion that's like Invocation, where you can like steal your opponent's monsters as mats, and they should just make a bunch of Red Eyes that are like a Red Eyes
Targets,
monster
yeah.
plus a different type, as opposed to a different attribute, and make like again Red Eyes Insect Queen for insects, Red Eyes Harpy's
Red
Pet
Eyes
Dragon
Legendary
as you know,
Fisherman.
yeah, for
And then we can make a
Fish.
joke that Red Eyes is literally just a template they can smash on things.
because like that was arguably Joey's greatest strategy was using Grave Robber and
He
shit
can
to
still
like
bullshit it.
turn
he
his
literally can
opponent's
random
monsters
bullshit go.
against them. That's how he, made Black Skull Dragon in one duel. He stole, summoned Skull and shit. Like, stuff like that. Like,
I
there's-
just want the insectoid. I just want the insectoid dragon because I fucking like.
You want the gaping dragon?
Okay, this is a slight side thing. My biggest anger of Pokemon is that there is no bug dragon type monster. Pokemon.
Not even
There
the,
is
like
no
the fucking
bug dragon.
no dragonfly. No.
I mean, there
No
are
bug dragon.
dragonflies, but they are not dragon plus bug.
Yeah, Yanmega is a rock bug. I think.
I mean, I get why, but
There
still.
are some
There is
bugs
no
who are like
bug
the
dragon
equivalent
type.
of like
Yeah.
the classic legendary dragons, but yes, there is no actual bug dragon plus, which is a shame.
Which is infinite because dragon bugs look fucking amazing.
But yeah, so Flare Metal is a great card. It is a rank 7 Dark Dragon Xyz. 2 7s, just 2 level 7 monsters. It's 28-24, so it's got, Metal Dragon stats like it should. Can be destroyed by card effects while it has Xyz material. Hello, Red Eyes has discovered protection, everybody. It
So,
took us
like, I
literally
have-
all these other cards.
Oh my god, I have a serious question for both of you. What is the easiest way to summon Beals on your opponent's side of the field?
God.
Summon it on your side of the field and use gem
and
transversor.
yeah, Gem Uniter Transversor. That's the easiest way. But
I've done that a lot.
Beals.
I've done that a lot.
The Flare Metal
lot.
Beals line is
That's
crazy.
You
But
win as Red Eyes.
well, no, you don't, because to make the Beals combo and the Flare Metal and stuff, you have to run like 9 billion other cards. That's a Beals line.
You don't actually have to run that many cards. It's.
I mean,
it's
the
more
problem
efficient
is
than the Bish Balkan FTK. And I see that
the
more
problem
somehow.
is that Red Eyes does not have synchros or tuners, so you have to run some other package at minimum
That's
there.
true. No, you cannot run it in a Red Eyes deck.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
I'm
But
amazed that Red Eyes never had a synchro package.
well, no, because that was always Blue Eyes' thing. Was they made it synchros.
Well, I mean, technically they do. They just don't have a tuner.
Well, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
there's
they
zombie
they
lines.
have the zombie lines, which we haven't gotten to because those retrains are also a little bit later. There's the zombie version, which are much more about zombie world decks. Though again, Red Eyes doesn't have a fucking field spell, so you could run zombie world in a Red Eyes deck, and it probably wouldn't change that much. But there's also Hund Red Eyes Dragon, which was errated so it wasn't a Red Eyes monster anymore. There's some weirdness, but yeah, they're not
Wait.
traditionally synchro monsters. They don't have a
Okay,
tuner.
I haven't put Master Duel in a while. Wait, so they released a new pack and they just didn't put tier elements in it?
Correct.
That's fucking funny. I'm sorry, that's really funny.
I think it's because we didn't talk about it at all, but the OCG released a new ban list. This ban list only just now is actually stopping a Shizu tier. They did all of the TCG's hits. They put, like, basically all the names to one, like, all the Ishizus and all the tiers that were missing. They banned Elf. They also put, like, 3 Bystials to one, because Bystial packages are in a lot of decks. They also put Runic Fountain to 2, because that'll fucking stop Runic, sure. Oh, no, I can't activate it more than twice in one turn, whatever.
I mean, to be fair, the thing that stopped Runic from being a deck in both the TCG and the OCG was banning Mine.
Well, I mean, no, not in the OCG, because they might have been banned for, like, 3 years.
Well, that's what I mean.
Also,
That's why Runic
Dallas,
never
they are.
became
I
a
mean,
deck.
there's a reason why Runic Fountain is going to 2 in the OCG. People are playing Runic decks. Not
They
a lot
played
of people.
Runic? I thought it was
but-
just Runic Sprite.
I don't know what variants, but it's a couple. I'd have to look at it. Some people have complained because, as usual, the OCG refuses to ban cards that should be banned, and Block Dragon is still legal, so there are some Earth Pile decks that are really stupid out there.
I don't know. I
involve
like the OCG's ban list
glass
sometimes.
Grass and
Get
stuff.
rid of Maxine, it'd be perfect.
But,
I'm a proponent of grass to 3. You're not the right. I'm not the right person for
yeah,
that. I want
but
grass to 3.
technically, I mean,
Doesn't do anything
Dallas,
about
I mostly think, like, why the fuck haven't they, why is Luna allowed? Why is Block Dragon allowed? You know,
That's
shit like
true.
that.
No,
That's
Luna
the-
should be banned.
I mean, I think that there's some TCG hits. I don't know why the fuck Drustrudo is legal, especially with them unbanning AFD. That guy needs to go back to
I don't
prison.
know why they unbanned Distrudo.
Yeah, I don't know why they put him to 1, let alone they're putting him up to, like, 3. No. That guy needs to go back to jail. Nothing good will come of this. No, like, so there are, like, Adamancipator, Ishizu, like, Earth Pile decks. Also, because of the legacy support they got in the next set, Super Heavies are fucking meta. Super Heavy and Super Heavy Bystials.
Yes, I love the OCG.
So, yeah, I think that's our next set in the TCG. So, hypothetically, the Ishizu and the Bystial hits also affect those decks, but we'll see. They probably should put block to 0, but I think that, like, the Super Heavy
Look,
coming
as
back is,
long-
like, literally because of the last fucking set release, so.
As long as they take Kashtira out behind the shed and shoot it in the fucking skull.
The
I never
OCG
thought
did
I'd
not.
miss tier
The OCG
elements.
did not specifically get Kashtira, but that's because two of their
Kashtira
normal
didn't do
monsters are
anything in
already
OCG.
limited to 1. Unicorn and
Yeah.
Fenrir are already 1 in the OCG. They added no
Yeah,
additional.
No, kill that deck with fire.
They added no additional hits, but also because they never fully killed tier, Kashtira is different in the OCG.
I never thought I'd miss tier element decks.
The TCG absolutely needs to, like, start clattering those guys next ban list because
I advocate for an emergency ban list.
the
It
problem
might
is
not be a tier 0 deck, but it is the least fun meta.
well,
I've
yeah,
ever
so it's
seen.
not very fun. I think I don't think there's a good justification for an E-ban because the problem is that Kashtira is, while incredibly unfun, it's ludicrously easy to side against.
It has a lot of very good outs.
Yeah, it had, like, obviously, I think that's deck warping, and that is why it's going to eat shit on a ban list soon. The idea that, like, they force you to side against it. But
Honestly, if they put like
Kaiju's,
to 1,
Nib.
it just kind of fucks it up easily.
Kaiju's, Nib,
Nah.
Books of Moons, like, there's so many outs.
Put Unicorn and Fenrir to 0.
I think putting up to 1 still works even. But yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Like, it just
I mean,
makes it
I
a
don't
fucking-
know. The TC, like we saw with the tier list, the TCG list again. Axe. I mean, like you.
No, fuck it. I advocate for killing meta decks all the time. I advocated for killing tier. I advocate for killing this.
I know you liked how it looked, but like you understand, right? How just fucking gross and unfun Kashtira is.
I know.
You
Yeah.
literally aren't allowed to play
If you
Yu-Gi-Oh.
advocate for Kashtira, you are an evil bastard, and I will not justify you.
Dallas says that as an evil bastard. He knows.
Yes. No.
Also, Dallas has been voted.
Only
like,
Nazis play Kashtira. I'll say it.
Well, hey, internet
Dallas-
at Dallas.
It's on video.
Hey, I'm genetically supposed to punch Nazis, so like fuck you.
There were Jewish Nazis.
if you disagree with Dallas,
See,
consider
only
sending
I
me
can
your money
say
now.
that statement.
No,
Only I can say that
we should at least put Shangri-La to 1 to at least make it so you can only cover half the board.
Yes.
I just.
And then
but also
if
no,
it's-
like
if it's
I
if it's
what I wanted to
hamper
say,
enough.
so we could end this tangent, was that we all understand, having seen when they finally decided Tears time was up, the TCG style is when they are done with the deck is to take it out behind the shed and send it to Dark World.
They did all the other right.
So that's what they did to Tier, and that is what they will probably do with Cashier when its time is up. The other thing, though, is the OCG unbanned Blaster to 1. That probably means to the TCG soon. Blaster 1.
Yeah.
Blaster 1. Let's go.
It won't do anything.
Oh, no, it will literally not matter, but it's
I'm
funny.
happy about it.
So we also, Ack cut me off because he talked about the Beelzebub FTK. Before I even mentioned that effect, Flare Metal has 2 more effects, actually. It's got Protection as Exceed Material, which we already talked about. While this card is Exceed Material, each time your opponent activates a card or effect, inflict 500 damage to your opponent immediately after it resolves.
It's technically better than Masquerade.
Yes.
It's
Because it is
just
whenever they
Masquerade is
activate
11
a card or
to
effect,
2.
they take 500. Also, Masquerade is 6, so it the math works out a little better. It's faster, slightly.
No, I thought Masquerade was 4.
No, Mask is 6. Double Masquerade is 12, so yeah, it's rough. Also, once per turn, quick effect, detach an Exceed Material from this card, target a red-eyes normal monster in your graveyard, summon it. By the way, while you do still need the normal monster in the grave to start this effect, there's nothing saying you can't detach and target the thing you detached if you already had the target. It's one of those cards. So this is why I say Flare Metal is one of Red Eyes' best boss monsters. It has protection. Because you already have so much burn damage anyway, it is very easy to put your opponent on a big clock early. And I have won so many games in real life with my friends, in Master Duel, by just doing a bunch of damage, making Flare Metal, and being like, okay, genius, you have 4 card activations left. Can you defeat a monster that can't be destroyed in 4 moves? And guess what? A lot of decks can't do that. So Flare Metal is a great closer. It does the Red Eyes thing where it recycles guys, so that can turn it into another OTK push. And that clock...
Tip for the kids out there, run Goddess.
Yeah, there's quite a few things. Kaiju's also really works to get rid of this, you know.
That's true. Well, Kaiju's just...
Yes.
If you are in a format with a side deck, Kaiju's.
Yes, always be Kaijuin. I would actually say, funnily enough, Nibiru is not a good pick against Red Eyes usually because while they are all about special summoning, usually each of their special summon effect is like once per turn, so you can usually only get like 2 or 3 summons per turn.
It's not like DDD where you go, oh, you have Nibiru? I guess I'll just die.
Did I get to make Machinex? No?
Yes.
Nope.
Have I made a big king dick deck?
I'm going to
No?
die.
Alright, I lose.
But yeah, so Flare Metal, I think, honestly has carried Red Eyes as a possible deck. And just in general, it's another great card because it's a completely generic 7. This is basically where, like, other kinds of, like, legacy extra deck monsters try and go. And I feel like, honestly, a lot of Dark Magician and, Blue Eyes extra deck cards don't do quite the same thing. Because I think, not Azure Eyes, the other one. Is that Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon? Is the other sync? I believe that both of those might call out they need Blue Eyes cards. So while
one does,
Spirit
one
can
is
be
just Dragon.
okay,
I believe.
Spirit can be very meta pushing, but it still usually requires you to be playing the right deck. Flare Metal is just, hey, can you make 7s? You can make Flare Metal.
Yeah,
So there are
Flare
loads of
Metal
decks
is
I've
in.
played where you can just be like,
Yeah.
oh, hey, did I whittle you down? Like I said, it's 500 per activation. You whittle your opponent down to like 2k, you make Flare Metal, and you just are like, okay, you've got 4 moves.
It's like Cowboy, but more sadistic.
Yeah. And it also, it's more dependent on what your opponent can do. There are some decks who can just turtle under Flare Metal and not die. The best is if you can get Flare Metal and then Black Flare, the Gemini, and get its effect so that when you do damage calc, you do 2,400. That way your opponent can't just turtle up forever. But that requires extra setup. Okay, so Azure calls for normal dragon. Spirit Dragon requires blue.
Yeah, Azure Eyes is normal dragon. No, it's a normal tuner. Wait, no, it's a non-tuner normal monster. It's not even dragon. It's
okay, it's
normal
normals.
locked. But there's no benefit to not
Yes.
playing dragons with it.
Because
Because I've actually used it in some non-blue eyes decks.
it's
it does
made.
seem
I
fun
mean,
to
it's
dragon
it's made to be used with Eyes of Blue into Blue Eyes, but there are other combos because there are several normal 8s.
Yeah.
Okay. Now it's time for another retrain. It's time for the Gemini arc to continue. It's time for Meteor Dragon Red Eyes Impact. Hold on, he's a little big.
I
Let me resize
love
him a
this
little.
card art.
Meteor Dragon Red Eyes Impact.
Meteor has gone into terminal velocity, and now it's become actually okay.
See,
by the way,
this
this
is how you draw a meteor dragon.
Yes. So, by the way, this also has a slightly sillier name in Japanese, but it works. At least the English translation does, because it's translated. This is Red Eyes no Yoseru Meteor Dragon. Red Eyes Doomstar Dragon Meteor Dragon. So it says dragon
I
twice.
actually like that more because it's a reference to an album.
Yeah. So this is the first of 2 Meteor Dragon retrains. Because this one was insufficient for Red Eyes. It's still, like, in Master Duel, the actual other one is not out yet, so you still see it. But I think it will be replaced by just Red Eyes Meteor Dragon later. Which we'll talk about. That's a very new card, though. So, Meteor Dragon Red Eyes Impact. This is a card art. This is a card art of all time. He is coming at you like a meteor. He's still got kind of his rocky body, but it's more bullet-shaped now. And he's got, the Red Eyes coloring that I like. It's still got the lines that would go into, like, say, Meteor Black Dragon. It's good. I think his face is a little blocky. He's got some chubby cheeks. But
It is, but I don't know. I think
I think it works with the dynamism, right?
As someone who considers Meteor Dragon to be the worst Yu-Gi-Oh card art,
Oh, it's a hell of a glow
or
up.
one of them, or up there, this is like everything I would have wanted.
So, Impact, it's a Dark Dragon Gemini. So, switching around from being Earth, it's Dark. It's level 6. It's got the same stats as Gemini. It's not Gemini. Meteor Dragon, 18-20. Treated as a normal monster, blah, blah, blah. You can summon it to have this effect. Other Red Eyes monsters you control can't be destroyed by battle or card effects. This is an okay effect. When it came out this is technically our next batch. This came out the next year in Invasion Vengeance in 2016. The effect is in the right place. Red Eyes is an archetype that traditionally strongly lacks protection. They are much more about recovery than protection. Red Eyes is basically like, you blew up my board? Well, you better kill me, because otherwise I'm going to get all this shit back in a turn or two. Unless you banish it. That's another thing, by the way. Konami ideas. Different dimension Red Eyes Dragon or something. Give me some banish recovery nonsense. Just give me the... Actually, you know what? Give me the fucking hero fusion treatments. Give me a miracle fusion so I can banish from graveyard, and then give me a parallel world fusion so I can bring it back. Let's just do the cycle. Anyway, the main problem is Impact has a pretty shit stat line for a level 6. It's, 18, 2k. It's a really good target for a card we're going to talk about in a second. But I think its protection effect's in the right space. It's just that getting it to actually proc is hard. You have to run outside support cards to actually get to Gemini summon this. And most of the time, you're better off trying to set up, like, a Lightning an Archfiend of Lightning, or a Flare Dragon, because that will end the game faster. We do have another weird little Red Eyes card. This is one that I personally do use in some brews, though I'm getting a little turned off it lately. But it certainly works. And I think it's got a pretty sick card art.
A lot of Red Eyes cards, as interesting as their effects can be, I will say, of the 3 archetypes, I mean, I think I like Dark Magician more just because it's more my aesthetic.
Yeah.
But I do have to appreciate the Red Eyes art a lot.
Blue Eyes
Certainly
doesn't...
more than Blue Eyes.
Blue Eyes really sticks close to its guns. Most of its Blue Eyes are just more Blue Eyes monsters, and then Eyes of Blue are just
I think
albino
Blue
people.
Eyes look stupid. I think Blue Eyes look stupid.
In the original card art, I definitely think Blue Eyes is a little derpy. There are some alt arts that are good. But anyway, this is Red Eyes Retro Dragon. It's Red Eyes coming out of the time machine. Do you get it? Clap. That aside, this card art is sick. I love this coloration, and the little gears he has. He doesn't
The
need those
clockworkness
gears.
of it.
Yeah, no, it's cool. And it's the background, like it's an action shot. You can tell what's happening here. It's the time machine card.
Honestly,
yeah.
I think Red Eyes looks better when it has like, when it honestly looks more like a thin thing where it's mostly scales and like, when it's more like.
Yeah, you
like
talked
a
about this
Drake,
earlier.
where it's
yeah,
bonier and
skinny
thinner and, like-
and sharper, as opposed to that art of a black metal dragon we showed that was chungy. Not a good look.
It's like
Skinny dragon look better. So retro
like,
dragon is
the white dragons are for Blue Eyes.
retro dragon is one of your good level 4s these days. You've got a couple of options to pick from depending on what brew you're going with. This is one of your good ones. And I think 4s are important because Queen Dragon Jin is a phenomenal fucking card if you run dragons. But Red Eyes Retro Dragon is a dark dragon level 4. It's only got 1700 attack, 1600 defense, so its stats aren't great. But its effect is, if a level 7 or lower Red Eyes monsters you control is destroyed by your opponent's attack or card effect and sent to your graveyard while this card is in your hand, you can special summon this card in defense position, and if you do, special summon as many of those destroyed monsters as possible in the same position they were in when destroyed. You can tribute this card. You can normal summon one Red Eyes monster during your main phase this turn in addition to your normal summoner set. That second effect almost never fucking happens. The odds that you will want to double summon a Red Eyes are very nil. Mostly because the only ones you'd want to normal summon, other than like setting up maybe like a Blackstone of Legend play, which you can do anyway, would be to tribute summon for Red Eyes, and then why would you tribute summon away one of your tributes, you know? It's weird. That replacement effect, though, is really good. Very oftentimes I will get guys to blow up Red Eyes cards just to interact, and then it's like, oh, hey, cool, you attacked me? Retro Dragon. I get 2 monsters, actually. I'm not dead. The main problem that keeps this from being a perfect support card is you'll notice it says 7 or lower Red Eyes monster. This excludes almost all of your fusion monsters, not all of them, but almost all of them. And also DMD, if you actually got rid of Flare Metal, it would count as well because it doesn't have a level. So Retro Dragon is a little overly balanced. Obviously, I think Konami was, like I said, they've been very worried about DMD ever since it got limited and banned in the Dragon Ruler era. So they try and keep it around. By the way, this was named Red Eyes Tracer Dragon in the OCG. I think Retro Dragon is better, funnier.
I mean, I do think DMD had some very problematic things.
Oh yeah,
about it.
before it got its hopped errata,
It was one of the most busted cards in Yu-Gi-Oh's history.
yes.
We could say that.
Yeah, it was pretty broken. Yes, the normal summon effect would work for the Gemini double summon. The problem is then all of the Geminis and Red Eyes are high level, so you need to get them on the board anyway. It's one of those things where like it's a cute idea. The problem is that it doesn't help you get those big high level monsters on the board as is.
Unfortunately, normal summoning as a concept is kind of slow.
I mean, I think it has some of its value, but yeah, there's some weirdness there.
Didn't they make like, honestly, they made the time winding card, didn't they? So you could like double tribute and double draw now.
I mean, yeah, but you can only activate that in certain specific niches.
Fair.
It's a neat card that'll go in some decks, but it's not like they're willing to change the rules that you can always double Norma and always double draw. That would break some shit. But yeah, Retro Dragon's just a good way to get your guys back, especially while you're setting up. The problem is that it doesn't work with a lot of your boss monsters, so it doesn't help you recover those, but it can still set up some stuff, and it's a decent one. And like I said, again, a lot of people just don't count on you having this card, so you get away with some stuff. So, continuing the Gemini/Burn era, it's time for what I think Konami intended to be Red Eyes' big boss monster, and now kind of is again. I personally have problems with the limitations of this card, but it's still okay. I'm also glad they finally fucking reprinted it in an all ultra set, so I can own a copy, because it was printed once prior to that and was hella expensive. It's
I mean, were we talking about this?
Meteor Black Comet Dragon.
A fucking awesome art.
Yeah, this guy's rad.
It's
Yeah.
like, it's the fucking Doomstar, but like Mark II. It's like, this is
It's
phase 2 of
Meteor
the fight.
Black Dragon, but recognizably Red Eyes now. This guy slaps.
This is, you might call the Doomstar Requiem.
He is big and lava-y, and he's got a Red Eyes Dragon Impact as his chest piece now. That's cool.
I mean, I know we won't talk about Dragoon, but I feel like they really should make like the Phoenix Enforcer version of like the inverted fusion of Dragoon.
Yeah, kind of take it back the other way. That would be interesting. That would be a way to get around the fact that the OCG is still phobic about Dragoon for some reason, even though they don't have
Maxi.
Verte anymore. I know, it's
Maxi is
Maxi.
the reason.
It's
Maxi is the reason.
Personally, I think it's really dumb and a bad business decision that the OCG thinks that their players want Max C more than they would want to play a cool fusion of Red Eyes
But I think they're right,
Dark
though.
Magician. I mean, they would, but that's because those guys are coddled. We need to cut them off from the cockroach, cold turkey, cold cockroach. They'll understand how much better their game would be.
I say ban all hand traps. Every single one. And all normal counter traps. And all droplet-like cards. See what happens. Shake it up.
Let's see.
Chat,
then
if
it
you
just
think Dallas is a
becomes,
raving
let's see.
madman, consider supporting us.
Okay.
1 month of just Looney Tunes.
Yeah, I'm
Let's
about
go
to
make
say,
them more
for a
embedded.
when you said ban all hand traps, I was going to make the joke, for a format. I don't know.
So,
There'd probably be some unfortunate
don't
dog
make-
shit that would be prominent.
Okay, if I need to say this just before I because I'm about to
Yeah.
step away from it.
Sure, go for it.
Dallas, go make your more and ban list turn list and understand that it will just be dominated by stuff like Boral and fucking Dragon Link, stuff that can just combo through motion
No.
continuously.
That's not the moron ban list tournament. That's the opposite of the moron ban list. That's the everything is
It's
banned.
the sadist
it's the
banlist
suicide-
tournament, yeah.
It's a suicide tournament ban list.
The Imperious ban list.
Actually, I've banned most of. I've made the ban list bigger. But yeah, so this is Meteor
No,
Black
I've taken
Comet
out
Dragon.
some banned cards. But then here's the list of new cards.
So
Here's,
its
like,
name, by the way,
20
is
pages of banned cards.
Ryusei Ryu. It's a pun because Meteor is Ryusei. It's written with a different character, but pronounced the same way as Dragon. Ryusei Ryu Meteor Black Dragon. Meteor Black Dragon, the Comet Dragon. So Meteor Black Comet Dragon is, yes, it's actually that redundant in its name.
It's meant to be a weird pun.
But this art is rad. Great look of to
hold
like
on
take kind of like the darkness and the red eyes effect. I like it a lot. He's a cool boy. He's a doc dragon.
I have
Yeah.
I have a silly thing of I image it's like in a thing you're fighting the black comet, the original black comet dragon.
Yeah.
It falls into the volcano and then it comes out of the volcano and then tries to cleave something in half with its foot, and like that's its intro animation.
Yeah.
Someone decided it was a good idea to vacuum at 8 o'clock.
It's not
Surprisingly a
great
good
idea.
time, honestly.
So Meteor Black Comet Dragon is a Dark Dragon level 8 fusion. 3,500 attack, 2k defense. So same stats as Meteor Black Dragon. 1 level 7 Red Ice monster, plus 1 level 6 Dragon monster. So these materials are immediately better than Archfiend. You can very easily use this with your boy Dragon Impact or the original Meteor Dragon or whatever, and then lots of level 7 Red Ice monsters works.
Hold on.
What's up?
Sorry, I'm playing with a random run generator tool for Fire Emblem. One of the guys I got suggested was Dimitri, which is fine. And then under him is Dimitri. I'm like, wait, hold on.
Different versions?
No, it's the same Dimitri.
Okay, I
thought
guess
there was
we
one because
got
you
a
couldn't
bug.
get dupes. I guess you couldn't get dupes.
Anyway, if this card is fusion summoned, you can send 1 Red Eyes monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard. If you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half the original attack of that monster. If this card is sent from the monster zone to the graveyard, you can target a normal monster in your graveyard, special summon it. So, Meteor Black Comet Dragon is pretty good, but you'll notice it still has some of the same problems that Archfiend Black Skull had. 1, it's not a Red Eyes monster. Once this card is in the graveyard and is no longer in the effect of Red Eyes Fusion, it is not a Red Eyes card. You do not get this dragon back. 2, its recovery effect does not work the turn you activate Red Eyes Fusion. If your opponent just plays something to blow this guy up on summon, which is not impossible from a going second perspective, he just dies and you don't get a guy back, which is a terrible shame because like you wasted your whole turn to make this big asshole who doesn't have any protection. However, Meteor Black Comet Dragon is also the way that you do the Inferno Fire Blast FTK. If you send Darkness Metal Dragon, who has 2,800 attack normally, you do 14, and then you can just play 2 Inferno Fire Blasts. That's 35 damage each. That's 7k. The game is over. You just have to hard draw 2 Inferno Fire Blasts because they're not searchable. But yeah, Comet Dragon is, I don't want to say it's better than Flare Metal, but certainly for certain board states, it has its uses. And as a retrain of Meteor Black Dragon, it's pretty good. It's got a good card art.
It's more Red Ice centric.
Yeah, it's one of my 2 preferred opening moves in a game, in like Master Duel, say. Like, if you can do the combo where you make it turn 1, pitch DMD to the graveyard, and then you build your board set up to, recover through the follow-up turn, you can siphon your opponent out of a lot of LP right at the start. Get him clock sticking. But it still has a couple of weaknesses that prevent, it from having perfect synergy. And now we leave the Burn and the Gemini era. We move to the, hey, we made an equip spell that one time kind of era.
Have an equip spell?
Well, I mean, technically Dragon Nails, but no, I'm talking about Black Metal Dragon. That monster that becomes an equip spell. So they were like, equips, that's a thing that Red Eyes does. Kunai with Chain is a trap that equips itself. Red Eyes Chain is also a card, by the way.
Honestly,
a very
I
funny
feel like
card.
it's less. I think it's less random and more they're just trying to like build upon everything Joey did. To his
Yes,
detriment.
it's not truly random. The problem is that they can't stay focused. Every time a type of support doesn't work, Konami doesn't try and make that better. Like, they don't go like, well, Red Eyes Burn doesn't actually, the strategy, not the card. Red Eyes Burn doesn't actually win a lot of games. How will we make this more consistent? They're like, well, we don't want to make Burn FTK more consistent. What do we do? The Gemini monsters aren't working out. What do we do next? So, behold, the
They
first.
could've just- I don't know why they didn't just do Union and Gemini at the same time and just make it that Union counting as Gemini summoning them at the same time.
That will require extra lines of text. This is
I mean,
Gearfried, the
I guess
Red Eyes
it's a way
Iron
to
Knight.
Downsize that, yeah.
So it's Gearfried, the Iron Knight, but red.
I always forgot Gearfried was a Joey card. I always thought it
Yeah,
was
it's
like
one of
a
Joey's
Yugi
iconic cards. That's how he beat Insect Knight.
No,
Or
it's
Insect Queen.
Joey's card. It is technically his highest rated win card. Because Gearfried was part of a meta deck.
Yeah.
God, I kind of
A
wish.
top tier meta deck.
I honestly kind of wish that Joey
Called
in the
Butterfly
anime
Dagger
did.
Elma.
I was about to say, I kind of wish Joey in the anime had done a Butterfly MO Gearfried combo to win as a dumb bullshit thing he came up on the
I mean,
spot.
the problem is he wouldn't have
Nothing going on.
he wouldn't have the ancient library thing, but he could have done that technically because the Guardian player was in.
And he also wouldn't have Exodia.
Yeah, but there's other
Right,
ways you
That's
can
how
make
that
that
deck
thing work.
wins.
Well, I feel like in Joey's case, it's like he just draws 20 cards and then just has
No,
bullshit
but
spells.
in the era where Elma FTK was legal, the only way it could win was with Exodia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, yes, this is a card he was playing against America. By rules, that's the deck he should have won. If it was not a shadow game, he would have won it because he wouldn't have passed out in the middle. Honestly,
Once
like
again, Yu-Gi-Oh! Sometimes is bullshit.
this.
It's 80%
So
bullshit.
this is a
Although
weird
to
card.
be fair, that is possibly the best moment in the original anime.
I will say, he's got Konami orbs now, not a plus, but honestly, in terms of like the lazy Red Eyes redesigns, I don't hate Red Eyes Gearfried. Like, he's got the cool Red Eyes
red ball
Shadow.
joints.
You know, he already had the color scheme.
In terms of Gearfried retrains, it is not my least favorite.
Yeah. And like the other future for Gearfried is he like
It doesn't look like Immortal Phoenix Gearfried, which is
He
a fucking Digimon.
he explodes out of his armor into a weird boy. This is your other really good level 4, chat. It has the same stats as Gearfried the Iron Knight, so he's 18-16, which is pretty good. He's a level 4 Dark Warrior. So he is a warrior. Technically, you could roto him. Once per turn, if either player equips an equip card to this card, you can destroy those equip cards, and then destroy a spell trap your opponent controls. Then you can, so that's optional. Once per turn, you can send one equip card you control that is equipped to this card to the graveyard, target a level 7 or lower Red Ice monster in your graveyard, special summon it. We talked about Black Metal Dragon earlier. That combos very well with Gearfried. because Gearfried gets to immediately pop it, which sends it to the graveyard to get its effect off, to pop a spell trap. Your opponent can't target it with weird equip cards. That's not very common, but it does work. And if you don't want to pop, you can send equip cards to get your Red Eyes back out of the graveyard, which is ideal. So it's pretty solid. I will say that one thing I did cotton on personally, and it's important to the fusion we're going to talk about in a second, but I kind of wish they'd made the Guiltia retrain more Red Eyes apparent, because that's actually a decent card.
Also, Omega, I have to correct you on something. Gearfried the Swordmaster is from before Gearfried the Iron Knight.
Is it?
Yeah, because the whole thing about him is that's why it's called Release Restraint. He's basically so strong that he needed to encase himself in a giant suit of armor.
Are you thinking of Guilford the Lightning?
Nope, I'm thinking of Gearfried the Swordmaster.
I mean, yes, okay, so technically, that guy is just Gearfried without his armor on, but he didn't show up as a card until after. Because you could only summon him with Release Restraint, so.
And then he technically kills, I'm sorry about this, Omega. He technically kills fucking, what's his fucking name? Or her name? Nephthys.
I don't actually think that happens. Unless the Nephthys tribe is fighting the Gearfried tribe.
I mean, he's wearing Nephthys in one of his card arts. In Phoenix Gearfried.
Not really. That said, we should hate Phoenix Gearfried because he is why Joey is saddled with Gemini monsters.
Yes, no, indeed, we should hate Phoenix.
And Immortal Phoenix Gearfried also probably not a great card.
I mean, that card is hilarious. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but I've seen way too many Isolde lines.
It's such a dumb FTK.
That's just a Isolde being not
dumb
Noble
card.
Knight locked, but really should have been.
To be fair, Omega, I'll take that Isolde line over Isolde Send for Armageddon Knight.
True, that's just way more brain dead, but yeah. But yeah, so
I'll take the weird
Red Eyes
Isolde
Gearfried.
Send 10, and then people go, what?
Red Eyes Gearfried is a decent card in the deck. It does stuff. It is one of your ways to do in-archetype spell trap removal. Hey, guess what? I blew up a lot of Eternal Souls and Pure Lights that way. Which just ends the fucking game. Now, this next one...
Well, that's because I can call this out. Like, I don't need to call out the Blue Eyes players anymore. They know they're pace eaters. They're living with it. Man, other Dark Magician players know when not to activate Eternal Soul.
Yeah, it only works face up
on
to
your
do the
board. Don't flip it up. Just don't.
Yeah. But so this is because Black Dragon's Chick was no longer officially a Red Eyes card. This is Red Eyes Baby Dragon. Baby Dragon. It is a Baby Red Eyes. It is obviously referencing the card Baby Dragon, though it doesn't really look that much like him. It's kind of doing a similar pose, but it looks like a tiny Red Eyes.
You know, where's Red Eyes Thousand Dragon?
I mean, I also think there should be a Red Eyes plus a
Deviantart?
spellcaster.
Or also, like, where's Red Eyes Time Wizard?
Deviantart.
Also true. But yeah, no. I also personally agree that, like, especially again because in the OCG, Dragoon is banned, and in Master Duel, Dragoon is not makeable. Hey.
And Master Duel Alternative Dragon still won't be released.
Hey.
I'm so annoyed by that.
But yeah, Red Eyes Baby Dragon is just a dragon that's baby, and it's Red Eyes. This is clearly meant to be kind of like a retrain of Baby Dragon and Black Dragon's Chick. It's a level 3 Dark Dragon, 1200, 700. When this card is destroyed by bounce into the graveyard, special summon a level 7 or lower Red Eyes monster from your deck. If you equip it to this card, it gains standard attack. If this card is sent to the graveyard while equipped to a monster, add 1 level 1 Dragon monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Now, you might think, oh, Baby Dragon doesn't seem that good. It has to be destroyed by battle. And no, it's not great. I still play it in certain builds because you can just, when you make Red Eyes Fusion and make a big guy, you can set this guy still. You can't summon him, but you can set him. And that can, in your opponent's battle phase, get you to a guy who becomes technically large. You can also set it with Gearfried combos. But it's not, again, it's not the bestest, but I think they're trying. Especially for, this was Legendary Duels in like 2017. But you'll notice it does that equip thing we're talking about. It equips itself, when destroyed anyway. If it could also equip itself like Black Metal Dragon, that might be better. Might have a more universal place.
Yeah.
But to close out the equip era, it's time for Red Eyes' other attempt to make a good boss monster. It's Red Eyes / Dragon.
Yeah. I mean, hey, this card was good in Duel Links.
Yes.
I know.
This came out way early in Duel Links.
I know, like the art you have out is a bit. It looks a little desaturated, but outside of that, it's like,
Yeah,
I still think this card looks dirty.
It's kind of like cobalt. It's like cobalt blue black. It's like I don't. It looks like.
Let me try.
Gearfried.
I mean, this is smaller.
It looks like Red Eyes Gearfried became a dragon.
I mean, regular Red Eyes is just wearing Gearfried's armor.
Yeah, my issue with this card art, and I've had this issue since I saw it first in Duel Links. Dragons with swords on their fucking wrists will never look good, ever.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
I don't care.
I mean, obviously they got to put Gearfried's sword somewhere, but like the side blade, it looks a little small. I mean, he's got one of the blades is on his tail, which works, I think.
That works a little bit. It's still a little silly, but I can deal with it. The wrist blades, I just know.
Technically, I think it's the elbow joint because it's his third joint, but still.
Yeah,
Also, by the way, he has Konami or ball joints. But yeah, it's Red Eyes in a Gearfried suit.
Yeah, this is definitely the dumbest looking of the Red Eyes boss monsters.
It's a little silly. I mean, I know it's very plain and straightforward, and I do at least appreciate that while they don't require specific requirements, much like Black Skull Dragon and kind of Meteor Black Dragon, they've tried to make all the Red Eyes fusions look like specifically two monsters glued together. It's just sometimes that means you get a little weird stuff, like this. So, / Dragon is a Dark Dragon fusion effect monster. Level 7, 2800 attack, 2400 defense, so it's got the, like, extra deck or boosted Red Eyes stat line, but is still level 7. Black Dragon, Red Eyes Black Dragon specifically, plus a warrior monster, so no substitutes are allowed. But it is any one warrior monster. When a Red Eyes monster declares an attack, you can target a warrior monster in your graveyard, equip it to this card as an equip spell that gives this card 200 attack. When a card or effect is activated that targets a card under your control, quick effect, send one equips card you control to the graveyard, negate and destroy that card. If this card is destroyed by a battle card effect, you can special summon as many monsters from your graveyard as possible as were equipped to this card. So, I think when this came out in the original run of Legendary Duelists, Konami thought this was that archetype legacy support, right? You'll notice / Dragon has a lot of positives. It does specifically require Red Eyes Black Dragon, but it does revolve around, whatchamacallit, it's easy to use with Gearfried, which is a Red Eyes card, and so it's semi-generic. It's a level 7 for once, so Retro Dragon does work, for instance. And also you can overlay it into Flare Metal if you need to. Lots of other, level 7 or lower effects work. And it has several effects. The problem is, 1, warrior monsters. How many of those you got in your deck? Probably not a lot. The most I got was, I think, 5? Because I think I was in Legacy, in the Legend Anthology, I was running 3 of the new Guilty Retrain. Because he's good. He's a level 5, but he's basically a Cyber Dragon if you're going second, and a Banish. He normal summons himself without tributing and just banishes a card your opponent controls. I think it might even be non-targeting. And he just gives you more warrior targets. And 2 Red Eyes Gearfried. Normally, in a pure Red Eyes deck without some weird side Joey tech, you're probably just running 2 or 3 Gearfried. So you can't really get a lot of extra equips, which limits your options. Obviously, if you were running Black Metal Dragon, you can equip that. You know, there's a couple of other cards you can do to work with this. They finally released Black Dragon Nails later, which does actually work really well in Red Eyes. But yeah, its materials and its equip is awkward. It only works on targeted effects. It's still a negate, but it's only a targeted one. And then if this card is destroyed, you can special summon as many monsters from your graveyard as possible. Hey, guess what? Once again, that still doesn't work on the turn. It's summoned.
Like, it's so annoying. Like, the sad part is most of Red Eye's best boss monsters are not Red Eye's cards.
Yeah.
Like, I would argue one of Red Eye's best boss monsters is, in fact, Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss. Because it's insanely easy to net with Red Eye's cards.
Yeah, I've seen some like Red Resonator or other Resonator packages that do that.
Yeah. Fun fact: you could do really stupid shit with this card and hand thief.
Yeah.
Or smoke grenade of the thief, rather.
You could do that when that was allowed.
People do in Master Duel. I've had it done to me.
I could see running that variant, but that just means I'm running more like, the main problem is, I guess it's just part of the Master Duel mentality. Well, if the plan doesn't work, I just die. I
mean, Joey,
Yeah.
it's how Joey lived. He just died sometimes.
I don't like that just because I don't like playing Master Duel for 10 minutes and then not getting anything out of it, or waiting for my opponent to finally figure out how to find their win con.
You just need losing pity packs, which is the bummer of it.
I mean, yeah, you need to get credit for surrendering, just like losing the duel by 0 life pointing when the duel's been going on for 10 minutes, because...
I have to actually head out.
Alright, good day. That's to be expected. This episode is long. We've been going for almost 3 hours, and we still got like half a dozen cards.
I finished RE4, and I booted up 14.
Yeah, I noticed. But, yeah, Slash is trying really hard to be that boss monster, and it's just not, because unfortunately it still has a few too many restrictions. If you had a different fusion besides Red Eyes fusion, you could make this pretty good. As it is right now, if you're going first, you never want to make this card, because you can't use its equip effect unless you lucked out and have a Black Metal Dragon in your hand. So you can't give it any protection, like its negate, and also it wouldn't summon anything if it's popped anyway. But if you're going second, if you use Red Eyes Fusion, then you're locked out of special summoning, which means you are just as likely to lose because your opponent counters you. It's a little awkward. I think it's a step in the right direction by actually making it frickin' level 7, which is, like I said, a problem that cuts down a lot of things. And there are, I think, Slash Dragon builds. I mentioned, for instance, Red Eyes Black Dragon Sword earlier. That's a fusion that equips itself when summoned. That is a great way to make Slash Dragon fucking huge and good at winning the game, while also usually likely having another, warrior to equip to make monsters. But until they make, like, swords, Flame Swordsman with Red Eyes, or Red Eyes Flame Swordsman, or Flame Swordsman Red Eyes Flame Impacto, or whatever, and give you more warriors.
As you do.
It's not really worth it. It's way too niche. I mean, I still own some, and you can run it in certain builds, but it's not universally the bestest. Speaking of cards you can't run in Master Duel, Red Eyes Alternative Black Dragon came out in some tins and some promo sets. It's still not in Master Duel for some ungodly reason.
How good is it?
It's okay. I don't think it would save the deck, but it would certainly help. And
honestly, now that I've hidden it, that it's...
Yeah.
I feel like I owe an apology for all the times you saying Red Eyes is not good. I think it's more of the cards themselves aren't bad. It's just it's not cohesive enough to do anything.
Like, Red Eyes has a lot of really good cards. We haven't even talked about spell traps, and we might not talk about that many. Red Eyes has a lot of good effects. The problem is that there's no synergy. There's no, like, really cool combo lines. Red Eyes cards don't flow into each other. They just kind of, like, blunder into each other, and... There's plays you can make, but there's plays you can not make. Anyway, this is Alternative Dragon. He is very alternative. You notice he has a very different look. This was actually drawn by Kaz, I believe, which is why it's not got that, though. I don't... Actually, I think
It's
the
got like
signature's up here.
it's very like roughly drawn, but like in a good way.
Yeah. I mean, this is definitely like what late 2010s Kaz was drawing in terms of art.
Like this is like something. This is like a cool poster, honestly.
Yeah. Actually, I would buy this as a poster. I think that'd be pretty rad.
Like
I
it's
like
like
that it's got some
weird,
like iris effects going on. I like the lines. It's just
it's like some kind of like ancient techno dragon.
yeah, it's got some weird sketch to it, but it's okay, and it is certainly like in the Red Eyes vein. So what it does is this is another level 7 Dark Dragon, same stats as Red Eyes 2420. Can't be normal summoned or set. Must first be special summoned from your hand by attributing a Red Eyes monster from your hand or field. So unlike alternative, it's similar to Blue Eyes alternative. It's got a decent special summon condition. You only special summon 1 alternative Black Dragon per turn, or summon it once per turn this way, I should say. If this card is destroyed by battle, or this card in its owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, target level 7 or lower Red Eyes monster in your graveyard, except alternative dragon, summon it. And if it was Red Eyes Black Dragon that was special summoned, its original attack becomes doubled. So alternative is just, in reality, alternative is just get to Flare Metal even faster. I would like it in Master Duel because that would allow you to basically do some, with certain builds, it would allow you to do Flare Metal turn 1, which I think would be a lot better than Meteor Black in certain, or Comet Dragon in certain builds, because it's a special, right? And it lets you recover a Red Eyes Black Dragon, and depending on when you do it, you can recover that Red Eyes Black Dragon. It would be very big. Technically, you can get a very similar effect by playing Piercing the Darkness now, which I absolutely did. Piercing the Darkness is not explicitly a Red Eyes card, but it works really well because it includes Xyz monsters that have a normal monster's material, fusion monsters that were fusion summoned with normal monsters, etc., etc. So, hey, if you use Gemini monsters or Red Eyes, but Gemini monsters in the field anyway, or Red Eyes Black Dragon itself, you get the Piercing the Darkness effect, which means you get to do fucking extra damage. It's great. Also just draw power. But yeah, alternative is just an okay card. It's not a boss monster. It's not meant to be a boss monster. It's similar, I think, to Blue Eyes alternative. It's not as good, like a lot of Red Eyes cards. Not as good as their Blue Eyes version. Though, I think Blackstone of Ancients has its merits. Or Blackstone of Legend, because the Whitestone of the Ancients lets you special when it's sent to the graveyard, but, you know, you gotta send it to the graveyard, so... Blackstone just sends itself. I don't even know if we fucking talked about its effect, actually. I think we might have skipped that earlier when we talked about it. To reiterate, in case we missed it, Blackstone of Legend, you contribute it to summon a Red Eyes Black Dragon from your deck. If it's in your graveyard, now the turn it was sent there, you can target a... you can shuffle a Red Eyes back to your deck. I think it's just a level 7 Red Eyes monster, but it might be a level 7 normal. Back to your deck to add it to your hand. So it just recycles shit. It's good. If only it was a tuner. Then we could just have Red Eyes Synchro. But alas, we did not go that route.
I'm just amazed that like Red Eyes doesn't have everything and every kind of summon type.
Yeah, that is definitely something that, unlike...
Because I feel like that would be more of its thing. It just has something. It splashed
Yeah.
everything. Its potential. It's tried everything.
I
feel
mean,
like
technically,
they
it
should
does
gone
have a
there.
couple, because, like, the zombie synchro monsters are technically Red Eyes. It's just they don't have tuners, so you can't make them in Red Eyes
It's
without
the classic
additional
Red Eyes
support.
thing, and they don't synergize with anything else in their archetype.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, they synergize with the
Zombie
card
World.
as released, yeah, in Zombie World and the Zombie World structure. Speaking of which, we're going to talk about the first one of those Synchro Dragons. Let me grab his card art. This is Red Eyes Zombie Necro Dragon. Brah. Who can apparently beat up, what is it? King of the Skull Servants, Balderok? One of the big zombie monsters. I don't remember.
It just makes you think of like Balderok and Red Eyes fused, and like the way of like the
I
way
think that
it's
might
angled.
be the third version, which you're not at yet. This one's kind of
Oh,
like
never saw.
stony and rocky. It kind of reminds me of Meteor Black Comet Dragon, though obviously
It's
with,
starting to
like, the lines.
fossilize.
Yeah, that might be a good way to look at it. He's starting to fossilize. It still has some of the extra lines like Darkness Dragon and like the actual Red Eye Zombie Dragon, but you know,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
doing stuff. He's got a lot of ghost flames.
It's become even more ancient. It's even ancienter Zombie Dragon. or I guess it's now bony.
So Zombie Necro is a level 7 zombie synchro. Dark, obviously. Same stats as Red Eyes, 2420. It's completely generic, one tuner and one or more non-tuner monsters. This is also another reason why this doesn't synergize with Red Eyes. You couldn't make it very easily because it's a 7 itself. Gains 100 attack and defense for each zombie monster on the field and in the graveyard. So this is similar to, like I said, what Sword does with dragons, but for zombies, and obviously much smaller. When another zombie monster is destroyed by battle, you can special summon a zombie monster from either graveyard or your field. You can only use this effective zombie Necro Dragon once per turn. So this is not always your end state dragon, but this is a pretty good card to bring out, and it's ludicrously easy to do. We talked about this when we talked about Shiranui. This is a great card in Shiranui because they also make 7 sinks if you're running a Shiranui Zombie World package, which you should be. Why wouldn't you in Zombie Synchro 1 a fucking package like that? Zombie World's good. It's a good card. So Necro Dragon just it's basically it's better than regular Red Eye Zombie because it puts Red Eye Zombie in the extra deck, and that's good. You know, it's a good card. I don't really have a lot to say there in the strategy wise. I don't think it's the, like I said, it's not the best assist card because they made a more advanced version, but it's okay. So now we're going to talk about a card that's not good and it's weird, but it's a cool art. I think I bought one of these just for the art. This is Darkness Metal, the Dragon of Dark Steel. So again, not technically a Red Eyes. It's very similar to like the Dark Annihilation Dragon or Dragon of Dark Annihilation, which is the Xyz monster. I do want to say though, by the way, I think that's a bum cop. They should have made the Dad retrain the Link or something, and made the Red Eyes one at least the Xyz. Then Red Eyes could actually make this card. Instead, they get to make the Dad retrain that is the Xyz because it's funny. But
Yeah.
art-wise, I think Darkness Metal is cool.
This is just the non-ancient. This is just now. It's now just the Techno Dragon.
Yeah, the Dragon of Darksteel is, yeah, it's just, you know, it's a Link monster now, so it works. He's got some Tron lines. It's, you know, it's DMD, but Cyber, which is what it's supposed to be. This comes from a series of promo cards that were reprinted in Battles of Legend Armageddon that were based on, like, legendary dragon cards that had all seen the ban list. So, Dark Armed Dragon is in there. The Judgment Dragon Synchro Retrain is in there. The Pendulum version of CED is from that set, you know. So this is, it's a cool art. I like the art. I wish it was on a better card. Because this is a Link 4. It is a Dark Dragon Link monster. It has the forward-facing arrow and then the back 3. It's 2,800 attack. Its materials are 2+ effect monsters with the same type and attribute. Hey, remember what Red Eyes is bad about? Types and attributes.
Being consistent.
Yeah, so unfortunately, you don't really get to do that. It's got a fucking
I don't know why they just didn't. I just don't know why they didn't do like level 7 or higher Dark Dragon monsters.
That would make it so much easier. Also, it's a Link 4, so like, and I don't think it has Link 4 stats.
I guess they did it so because usually you'd make it from like 2 different Link monsters.
Yeah, you're supposed to Link climb, but again, Red Eyes can't really do that. Dragon Link could make this card, but I don't think you need to. You've got a lot better Link 4s. It's got a cool
I feel
name.
like I vaguely looked at it. I always thought it was like, oh, this is meant to be our Dragon Link card that didn't work.
Yeah, probably. Its name is Kogane Ryu, Darkness Metaru. Literally, Darkness Metal.
That's how...
The dark steel dragon. You can target one of your monsters that is banished or in your graveyard, special summon it to a zone this card points to, in defense position, but its effects are negated and you can't special summon Link monsters for the rest of this turn. And the special summon monsters placed at the bottom of the deck when it leaves the field. You can only use this effect once per turn. So, like, it's funny, and the fact that it shovels to the bottom of your deck after, or places on the bottom of the deck after, is cute, but it blocks further Link climbing, it's negated, and, you know, it's in defense position, so it's just a really funny retrain of DMD that doesn't go anywhere. I tried to make this work in Red Eyes, it just doesn't. You're much better off running, like, other Dragon Link cards if you want to run Links. Or don't run Links, just, you know, run other stuff. If they wanted to give Red Eyes some Link monsters that kind of, like, led up to this, that could be interesting as well. I don't
honestly,
think
I feel like for a bunch of Red Eyes Links, they could do the thing of different air like Red Eyes 100 Dragon, Red Eyes 1000 Dragon as like the Link monsters is like different AC as it grows.
Yeah, I think they could do some, and they could do some stuff like Red Eyes Cyber Dragon, you know, or Cyburst Dragon technically, because you don't want to actually get involved with Cyber Dragon.
And they're actually Cyberse monsters because of course.
Yeah, you could make them Cyberse monsters. Red Eyes doesn't give a shit.
Except it's like Red Eyes doesn't care.
A Red Eyes Link monster already is not a level 7 or lower Red Eyes monster, so unless you give it the effect text that says it's level 7 or lower, but that's kind of redundant.
It just hit me. Could they do like a Charlemagne kind of thing of Red Eyes and just make it a Link 1 that is basically equivalent to a Link 4, but it requires one Red Eyes fusion monster?
Honestly, yeah, that would work. That would be funny. I kind of hope that the Link version of Charlemagne, Charles the Great, does let them do some more stuff like that, because I
like that design a lot, because it's like, here's a Link monster that is meant to be a capstone.
Yeah, it's a Link 1, but it requires very specific Link materials, which is something that Link monsters didn't really do, right? We've talked about this guy before, but I
feel like they should have done more. Yeah.
It's Dark Dragoon time.
Honestly, the weirdest thing is, this is a Toku thing, but it's like, the Red Eyes part just looks like this is the upgrade armor suit.
We talked about this, I think, when we did the Dark Magician episode, but this is absolutely Dark Magician in a Red Eyes suit. I mean, that works because when we talked about how, like, Black Skull Dragon, you know, the Archfiend side kind of looks like cosplaying Red Eyes.
Paladin.
Yeah,
Paladin,
it has Dark Paladin's like blade and stuff as well, which makes sense. There's not a lot else to say about the card art other than it's got a fuck ton of Konami orbs. And this is one of those classic this is one of those things where I talk about how, like, I think it's funny how, like, MBT and Farfa in that one Magical Hats talked about the like pie in the sky of the two formats coming together, but this is one of those cards that, like, shows you why that won't happen without some big changes that the OCG would have to make. This card is still banned to this day in the OCG. It is unlimited in the TCG because while in the TCG, Dragoon very briefly occupied the phase of you know, coolest monster you could make off Verte. It was very quickly replaced by Dark Phoenix Enforcer, which has a similar utility in popping cards, but has recursion to keep monsters on the board, while still, you know, not necessarily being, like, the most useful. In the OCG, I assume this is banned because Dark Dragoon is a negate, but you have Max C to infinitely refill your hand. I unfortunately bought this card when it was about $40. It's still pretty expensive. It's been printed, like, technically 3 times because there's a Starlight Rare, but that's like $300. I'd love to own that, but I'm not made of money. Please, you know, share this video with, you know, giant YouTubers so they parasite me an audience so I can buy a Starlight Rare Dark Dragoon. Anyway, I bought it when it was $40. That was when the price was down. This card was being pre-sold at like $80. So I got this at a discount when money was a little bit better. This is, again, why I say, you know, hey, there's a lot of you watching right now. There's a little bit less because we've been going longer. We're down to like 10, but we had like 15 or 14 people in here. Again, consider dropping us some
it's not on my end. It's like we're still around 10-ish.
Yeah, we're 10, 11. That's a little bit better than average, but we had like 14 or 15 earlier. Some of that may have been while Dallas and Loth were also watching, but, you know, consider, you know, throwing us a channel membership if you haven't. It's pretty cheap. It's only $1.99. You know, maybe gift some memberships if you've got membership already and you've got cash to burn. Consider some super chats to remind Dallas how bad his opinions are.
As someone that, it's like, I literally think we called his idea of the suicidal banlist tournament.
Yeah. If you are a member, you can do badges and emotes. It's cool. It's a fun time. Also, like I said, just
Lucky put his heart and soul into making them.
Yeah, just if you also don't have to support us financially, well, I would appreciate that. If you're not subbed, consider dropping a sub. If you are subbed, share this with your friends. Like I said, like I think it would be I think it would be funny if MBT saw this for a half second and then went, that sucks, because he probably would.
Honestly, I kind of want. Honestly, I don't feel like I feel the shame, but I'd also feel like, you know, I think we just got a few thousand more people watching us.
I mean, yeah, no, I would just be like, nah, man, free views, baby.
This track right now.
Just boost numbers.
It's like, come on, we're still like.
I mean, I think he would just be like, this is a 2 hour stream where they yell about Yu-Gi-Oh card art. Pass.
And like talk about the cards themselves. I guess, like,
But
whatever.
somebody would notice it, and I wouldn't mind that. But like, it doesn't have to be like that. Just share it with your friends if they like Yu-Gi-Oh. You know, if you know a Red Eyes player, pouring out my
algorithm has
homies.
been trying to. I think the algorithm's been secretly trying to strangle Omega for years.
So you know, consider that. And like I said, watch our other streams you got going on, because I would like to be able to pick up some shit. I've been thinking about buying a box of Maze of Memories, but it's probably much cheaper to just buy the Gate Guardian core and the new Red Eyes card individually. But you know. It's neato. So what Dark Dragoon does, by the way, to remind you what this card's name is in Japanese, this is Chomado Ryukishi, Dragon of Red Eyes, or Dragoon of Red Eyes. Super Magical Dragon Knight, Dragoon of Red Eyes. Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. They tried.
It's like Curse Dragon. It's like the Curse Dragon.
Yeah,
Curse Dragon.
it's when it gets redundant. This is a level 8 Dark Spellcaster, so we're doing that you know, playing around thing. 3k attack, 2500 defense. Holy shit. The Blue Eyes stat line, literally level 8, 3k, 25. There's a reason why this is like the best boss monster Red Eyes has had in a long time, and I'm so sad I can't play it in Master Duel because of the bug. But it is Dark Magician plus Red Eyes Black Dragon or one Dragon Effect monster. So you can send it with normal monsters, very easy to do with the Red Eyes Fusion package, but also it works with just effect monsters. Which is how I believe you prefer to play it with in Dark Magician decks. But in Red Eyes deck, you just play a single Dark Magician that you can fucking yeet to the graveyard. Can't be destroyed by card effects. Neither player can target this card with card effects. So it's a towers. During your main phase, you can destroy one monster your opponent controls, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to that destroyed monster's original attack. You can use this effect a number of times per turn, up to the number of normal monsters uses fusion material for this card, so you usually use 2 normals anyway. Once per turn, when a card or effect is activated, quick effect, discard a card, negate, and destroy, then this card gains 1000 attack. So yeah,
I just thought of something. This is really awkward, but to me, it's like I just thought it was like, would Red Eyes be good if they had a bunch of Towers cards? It's like, wait, no, actually, that's not on brand. What they need are cards is that when they get destroyed or negated or popped, is that they come back almost immediately, and that effect cannot be negated. It's resummoned, cannot be negated.
Yeah,
so
the main problem with that is just the
and it needs to be specifically Red Eyes' material cards to do that.
But yeah, no, I think that is kind of their strength.
It needs to be immortal.
That said, it is still
honorable.
way too easy to pop them. So the fact that Dark Dragoon is kind of a towers, can't be targeted, can't be destroyed. It's not unaffected, so it's not a perfect towers.
Card in that regard.
But it's a lot stronger. It has better stats. It has a pop effect like Lord of the Red, but also that burns. Basically, this card just does fucking everything. It pops, it burns, it negates, which is something that Red Eyes does as well through Slash, but it negates based on your hand. Red Eyes has a Draw 2 spell, by the way. Cards from the Red Stone. The problem is that it requires explicitly a level 7 Red Eyes monster, so it's a little awkward, but it still works. It's a better Sacred Stone of 7 stars. It pumps its own damage. Dark Dragoon is really just, hey, Red Eyes need a boss monster in the year, 2020. 2019, technically, I think
I still think it's mostly a Dark Magician card, oddly enough.
I mean, it works in both, but the problem is that even if it is a Dark Magician card, this is still the best boss monster Red Eyes has right now. It's their best extra deck. Flare Metal is cool but slow. This just gives you, like, all of the Red Eyes playstyles. It does effect damage. It destroys cards. It has protection. It gets big. It fucking, negates. Like, it just does a lot of stuff, and it's kind of a shame that in Master Duel you can't play it, and even in the TCG it's not good anymore.
Honestly, you made me think about how I think the Dream Red Eyes card is literally just like something Red Eyes in Phoenix Dragon, where it's an immortal card that just keeps coming back and does everything when it gets resummoned.
Yeah, and I think there's other lines for that, but like, there's some shit you can do, I think, for this. But I said this before, I'm hopeful because it is an anniversary year, and Blue Eyes and Dark Magician have already gotten a lot of support lately, and they teased a couple of Red Eyes promos last year. I'm hoping that Konami at some point will give us something Red Eyes adjacent. Hell, I mean, Rex Raptor got some new cards. We've discussed it before. I don't think they're super great. Like, they're not going to be meta.
I think the spell card is fine. The rest are whatever.
Yeah, they're workable. And like I said, I actually think technically, I think that the Twin-Headed King Rex might see some adjacent play, if only because it is a level 6 dinosaur, and Transcendrake is super pushed. But
also because that like the
Red Eyes was also a Rex Raptor card. You can do it, Konami. You can make the change. Also, like, fucking the TCG is releasing, speed duels with Atticus shit and with Battle City shit. That was primo, Red Eyes time. Like, that could mean that the TCG could bring up some Red Eyes shit. Like, just, it's a really good time.
I thought of something really stupid that I think is funny. Where's Primordial Red Eyes? Like, where's the fucking dinosaur that becomes the Red Eyes Dragon?
Yeah, that would be a good one, I think. Also, while Red Eyes has had their spell card Inferno Fire Blast for a long time, there's no, like, Red Eyes Black Dragon Inferno. Like, there's no attack version of it. Like
Red Eyes Inferno Blast?
Yeah, there's no, like, version of Red Eyes with his attack name. Like, there's, Fearsome Fire Blast, Harpy's Pet Dragon, I mean, there could be some spell card, things they could do here. I think Black Skull Dragon had an attack name in the anime that you could turn into, like, a support for more Red Eyes fusion monsters. Some shit like that. There's some wiggly room. It's still cool.
Pretty cool.
But yeah, Dragoon is like the best thing to make. I know that, like, it got to the point where I, out of Gentleman's Lee, was not running 3 copies of Red Eyes Fusion and 3 copies of Dragoon in our, like, friendly games, because he can be powerful. The problem is that he was very quickly, like, out-meted. Like, you can counterplay Dark Dragoon pretty well. So let us talk about the evolution of the zombie line, because the zombie boys, they're doing good. So this is Red Eyes Zombie Dragon Lord. He got gold. He ate Eldritch. He may also canonically have eaten Eldritch. I'm not sure. The zombie lore is weird.
I think it's also just that he became the Lord of Zombie Lore. He became one of the Zombie Lords.
Yeah, so he is now a boss of Zombie World, so he's gold. But yeah, he's getting a glow up. He's looking pretty good.
I know I bring this up all the time, but this looks like a fucking, like, the end of a raid series boss.
I mean, I think for Yu-Gi-Oh cards that clearly evolve, that's not a terrible comparison, because, like, we saw Red Eye Zombie Dragon. We saw Red Eye Zombie Necro Dragon. This is Red Eye Zombie Dragon Lord. This is the biggest guy, right?
Like when we looked at, like, the undead vampire, it was like it's got the same scale vibes of, like, this looks like the giant set piece boss at the end of the series.
Yeah. He technically, I mean, I know he did eat Balderok, but is that where he got the gold? He's wearing Balderok.
Oh, he literally took Balderok's power from its corpse. Okay.
A Balderok. I don't actually remember how to pronounce that guy. He's weird. He's got an extra R in there somewhere.
Did we cover him before, or was that?
No, we haven't talked about him yet.
We didn't do Eldritch. I guess depending on Eldritch.
We could talk about some Zombie World shit.
We could also probably cover Zombie World Stables.
We get to talk about Eldritch and his friend, Gay Eldritch. So Red Eye Zombie Dragon Lord is a level 10 Doc Zombie Synchro. He's got 28-24, so he's got the enhanced Red Eyes stat line. Though the 10 works a little bit better for synchros. He is 1 zombie tuner, 1 or more non-tuner monsters. During your opponent's turn, quick effect, target a zombie monster in your graveyard except Dragon Lord, special summon it. If this card's in your graveyard, banish a zombie monster you control, special summon it. You can use each effect of zombie Dragon Lord once per turn. So yeah, Dragon Lord, good card. It's not as much of a game clincher as Necro Dragon, because Necro Dragon gets very large and summons extra guys. But it's a DD Crow, basically, if you've got Zombie World up, because if your opponent tries to do anything in your graveyard, you're like, quick effect, that monster in your graveyard? My monster. Plus, you know how, Axe, you were talking about the recursion effect? It's got it. Banish a zombie, special summon the boy. It's obviously not tuned for Red Eyes, but it does recur.
I said, the best Red Eyes cards are the cards you can't run Red Eyes.
Yeah. So, they've done, I'm really glad they've done really well. I have, during certain Yu-Gi-Oh, Master Duel tournaments, like certain events, run a Zombie World Synchro with Red Eyes. You know, the Red Eyes guys is my end board, and also Immortal Dragon and, Dark, the Zombie Felgrand and shit. So
honestly, cool. Omega, have you ever... I feel like a weird arc is going to be here is, like, I have died as Red Eyes enough that I have now come back from the dead with a vengeance, and I am now destroying you with the corpse of my favorite monsters.
I mean, I think it's just fun because they're good cards and they are Red Eyes.
Yeah. I know, but there's a weird arc I feel like someone could make if they want to do, like, a series.
Yeah, so...
The Red Eyes player that could never do it. It only won by
You will
becoming
probably like
angry
this.
and
You will
sad.
probably like this card art. It's a little big though. Shit. Hold on. Let me shrink him down. It's 50 So this is one of our two supports from last year. This one's not in the TCG yet, but probably soon.
That is like a PS1 box art in a good way.
Yeah. I thought you might because it's got that skinny vibes. This is Red Eyes Black Meteor Dragon. We decided to make it simple.
Got like its neck is a bit too long, but like it's kind of like unnerving in like a fun way that it looks like. It looks like it will eat you and burn you alive. In a cool way.
I like the red undertones. It's got the good vibes you want from this kind of stuff.
Oh my god. It reminds me of the Berserk armor from Berserk, where like it looks like it's metal plates over like bloody flesh and shit like that.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be a little bit more of a fiery glow, but this is a little bit of a weird scale.
It's gothic looking, if I would describe it.
Yeah. So yeah, this is just our last Red Eyes, our last Meteor Dragon retrain wasn't the best. How do we make that better? So Red Eyes Black Meteor Dragon is a Dark Dragon level 6, so it still works with Meteor Black Comet Dragon. It's got 2K. It is also not a Gemini monster. So once again, by the way, this is where this is the arc of Red Eye support of like, hey, what if Red Eye's cards were just like normal support, legacy support cards?
But what if they're just like reliably okay cards?
You can send one level 5 or higher normal monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard, special summon this card from your hand, then increase its level by 1. During your main phase,
Hey, look, you killed the...
Good?
Hey, look, you killed your brick.
Yeah.
Hey. Sitting on the grave. There you go.
You just pitch Red Eyes to summon this guy. Free extender. Also, by the way, like that's just the summoning conditions on alternative, so you can do this twice because it can send from deck. That means you can easily make turn 1
I guess now if you
metal.
open 3 Red Eyes in your hand and then the alternative in this, it's not bad, but it's not a great opener. But it's like
during your main phase, except to turn this card to center of the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard. Add Red Eyes Fusion from your deck to your graveyard to your hand. You can use effective Meteor Dragon once per turn. So this is a recover for Fusion. I think it's very funny that this is currently a TCG, an OCG only card. Was a V Jump promo. Like this is a promo card, and it searches Red Eyes Fusion, a card that I believe might still be. Let me check if it's still limited. It was definitely limited. No, it's back to unlimited. Okay, they let it out of jail, but like it's very funny considering they're against.
Would they just make Red Eyes Fusion 2 like they mass change 2, or could they make Neo Red Eyes Fusion? Because I feel like that would also
work with.
It would still be searchable.
No, it's not. Because it's not
a
Red Eyes Fusion. It's not a Red Eyes Fusion card. If it uses quotation marks, it has to be the exact card name.
Oh, okay.
You would need something that Red Eyes Fusion substitute.
It's Neo Space.
Yeah.
Neo Space, right?
You would need something that says it counts as Red Eyes Fusion,
Oh, okay.
Which you could make work. You could make that work as an alternative fusion, make it count in the graveyard so you can recycle it anyway.
I just feel like they need a bunch of fusion spells.
I don't know if they need a bunch, but I wouldn't mind a couple more in the rotation. Something that banishes, please, at the very least.
Maybe just like 2 more, like 2 different ones.
But yeah, still, I think this is an attempt by Konami to try and make Meteor Black Comet Dragon more meta to replace Dragoon. I don't think it'll work. I think this card is way better than playing Red Eye's Impact these days. So when this comes to Master Duel, I'm gonna play the shit out of it because it works better. Because like I said, it's a free extender it goes into Flare Metal and into Comet Dragon better. So that's cool. It sets up guys in your graveyard. It's neato. But the other card, which I need to order... Hey, you know what? Let me see. TCG player.
Are you trying to buy it now?
Let me just... Red Eye Soul. It was a rare in Maze of Memories.
Oh.
Okay. I don't... It's very new. It's only a regular rare. It is like 25 cents, so I don't want to order a playset with 99-cent shipping right now.
I guess, my problem was, like, I assumed it was going to be, like, other games where it was, like, $12 for, like, a rare. I was like, oh, wait,
no, remember, Yu-Gi-Oh! It's a rare.
Everything that's not a staple is trash. It's, like, fucking cheap.
I mean, this is the default price tag on TCG Player is 40 cents.
That's pretty cheap. Like, that's, like, for a playset, that's only, like, $1. That's only
but it's 99-cent shipping each time. The highest price was $1. I'm going to wait a little bit for this price to go down. I guess it's because the card just came out. If it was like a 5-cent card, I would absolutely order like 3 of them right now on stream if somebody gave me like $5.
I
but
mean, like, listen, it's like $2. Is it? It's one of those shipping per item.
I think it's per seller, but it might be per item. Hypothetically, let me add
Oh,
3 to my
okay, yeah, fuck
let me add
that.
3 to my cart right now and see.
Let's do this science.
So subtotal $1.20. Let me see if I can view the cart. Okay, no, it is shipping once per seller. So for $2.28, I could buy a playset of Red Eye Soul right now.
Not that bad. It just depends if you want to use it right now.
I mean, I kind of don't want to because I have to. If not literally tomorrow, this week, and I will do it tomorrow before we stream. I do have to renew my Final Fantasy 14 sub.
You are committed to that, and it's like.
And there are a couple of
How's
video games.
How's Crystalline been going for you in your off time?
Well, people will just have to tune into the stream to see if I have the ball or not.
I was thinking if you got the Lost Legacy armor.
I mean, I would not go that far. I like CC, but I don't like grinding that much. I also don't even.
Fair.
I don't have Glam
grind,
set
so
up.
honestly.
I don't have my dresser set up. I need to figure that out. I think that means I need to get a dresser and
It's
put
just-
it in my
it's-
room, in the house.
You can't.
Oh, do I
You
have to do
can't.
it from
If
inns?
I did, I would have. It's only in inns.
It's really inconvenient because I don't ever go to those places. Well, I need
It's why I go to them all the time.
yeah, I need to
to
move some
donate
shit around.
there.
Maybe I'll do that.
There's a bunch of glamour items,
off
things that just
stream
used to be
ahead of time.
glamorous.
Because I do technically have some armor that is like meant for glams from like seasonal shit. I do need to like pack up somewhere if I'm not using it right now.
I mean, you also need to clear your inventory because your inventory is like always full. So.
Well, yeah,
That's
but
another time
that's
place.
part of it. Is getting rid of some of my shit. I do need to sell some shit, but that's another like. There's some. 14 is cool. No, I mean.
There's a lot of menus that are hard to do as a console.
I mean, even if you could click and drag, there's like a lot of extra menus. I've looked at my retainer menu. I think it's is it just an option to sell inventory? I'm trying to remember. It's been a while.
If you go to withdraw, one of the options on an item in the give withdrawal or like put on a market board, you can just directly just raw sell.
Okay. Because I like have a lot of Allegan pieces. I should just turn into Gil now.
You can also just hand those over to any shopkeeper and just get rid of them.
The problem is I have to go talk to a shopkeeper. Because I am still progressing main story, my like position in the game is really weird because I'm usually like, in the middle of nowhere doing plot shit and there aren't a lot of merchants doing around. It's weird. It's interesting, but it's
I mean,
it's
you're
weird
gonna be
sometimes.
with the area pretty reach in the story, there's a bunch of merchants actually. Actually, we might not have them access to them, so we'll see.
No, I definitely don't. Unless were there any sellers in
You're in the
Bloodhome?
there is at least one, but I think it might be after you have to do the Moogle quest to get the actual
I don't
main
know.
sellers for the mists, but we'll figure it out later.
I'll take a look at it. My inventory is getting full. While I am dumping shit on like my Chocobo saddlebags and my retainer. I have them holding shit for me. It's still like gets full up because there's crap I need to just sell.
You get your second one and you probably hold off for at least a few days. But yeah.
I mean, I would still have to go to menus and like stuff crap in their pockets.
Okay,
My main issue with inventory management in Final Fantasy VII is, other than my Chocobo saddlebags, which are magic, is they require going to specific places and dealing with specific menus.
Listen, like people have moaned that fact of being like, but it's also why they have retainer bells everywhere in like every main city. Ever.
Oh yeah, no. I've noticed there's a summoning bell in the PvP area. I assume so you can dump your shit after a PvP season.
Yes. Also because there's all the merchants right there that like are a bunch of glamour items that you don't really want to carry.
No, you don't want to carry them. That's right. Yeah, you gotta.
And there's always a summoning bell right next to any of the glamour dressers anyway.
Anyway, we're not. We've stopped talking about this.
Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah.
Nobody in chat bought the bait and gave me $2 of super chat to buy Soul.
It was worth a shot.
It would be funny. Do I actually have? Let me double check if I got. I don't think I copy pasted. No, I did not. So let's grab Soul's art. So Red Eye Soul. This, like I said, it just now exists in the TCG. Also, I'm going to be honest, chat. While I would appreciate your $2 super chat, you should not necessarily do that. I will get a much better deal on Red Eye Soul in like 3 months. It's an
okay card.
It's
but it's saying
it's
okay
a
card
pack
Yu-Gi-Oh! Doesn't
filler.
mean it's a good thing.
it's being released as a pack filler in a nostalgia set. It's not necessarily a great card because Red Eyes is not going to like tear up the meta because of it.
Meg, I got a question for you now. How many? Honestly, I've heard. What is like? When is Yu-Gi-Oh? What is Yu-Gi-Oh set not a nostalgia set nowadays? I've only ever heard people refer most sets as nostalgia sets nowadays.
Well, they're wrong. Sets this year and around this year have explicitly been more nostalgia themed than normal because it is an anniversary year. But there
Fair.
are loads of set which push archetypes that are like brand new and don't have like relative like also like legacy support from like the Vrains era on. You can't call that nostalgia. That was like 5 years ago.
It's just like a support.
Yeah, it's just legacy support. But there are sets that are not intended to have like real far back legacy support. It's just a lot of shit is being very explicitly like, nostalgia themed in the way they're branding things, because A, there's no new anime to push, and B, it's the 25th anniversary year.
The only thing is like 7, which I've heard is actually going decent places.
Oh yeah, the second case of the 7 sequel series, but yeah, 7's is doing its own
It's
thing.
actually
but
pretty
that's
good.
Got to do with the Rush Duel thing. It's I kind of wish that after I believe they've said explicitly that the Rush continuity will end with this series. They're only going to make like 2 seasons of this.
I mean, I feel like
I
feel I've
hope
always
that
said
Konami decides to take that energy back to a regular.
So, Meg, here's the thing I've always lived by. Every time I've heard it when people talk about Hellboy, good stories end.
Yeah, no, it's important to have finales, but like I mean, like it sounds like they're not planning on continuing the Rush Duel anime past that. I don't know. They might have said some stuff different.
I kind of wish we had a Speed Duel anime as like a weird. I don't know.
That'd
How
be interesting, but I don't know
like,
how I don't know how it would work with skill. I mean, there are generic
I feel like
skills.
it'd be. I feel like it'd have to be like. I feel like it has to be like pseudo meta of being like it's fans of Yu-Gi-Oh players embodying actual Yu-Gi-Oh characters.
Honestly, that sounds more like Konami should sponsor like a weird web series of like real players.
Honestly, I feel like that would work if they did like a live action series too.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
what
like
they
a
should do.
weird Toku
Konami,
series.
do a live action Yu-Gi-Oh series. Anyway, this is Red
There's a bunch of
Dragon.
good ones
Red,
online,
sorry,
actually.
Red Eyes Soul. This is referencing the second time Joey and Yugi fought. This is Red Eyes melting while he's being mind controlled and stuff. The Red Eyes Soul. It's a very important card. This is a level 7 Dark Dragon. It's 900. It's got 900 attack, 2,000 defense, because that's the stat line I think it's settled on in the anime. This card's name becomes Red Eyes Black Dragon while it's on the field or in the graveyard. So it just becomes a Red Eyes Black Dragon. This is good.
Hey, look, I guess it's a technically not target for Dragoon, but it's a target for something.
I mean, it would be a target for Dragoon. It's not the best because it's an effect. It's a dragon effect anyway, so it counts. Slash Dragon, remember, calls out Red Eyes Black Dragon specifically, so helps with that a little if it's on the field already. Also, it makes sense that this is a substitution card because it is literally like the soul of the Red Eyes. You know, it's got that thing going on there.
I feel like I've grown to really like Red Eyes, but it's just like the dragon is just like it is mostly metal, but it's also flesh. It is flesh and metal in one.
Yeah, like I said, I've always really liked it. It's not just because of the color scheme, but I do prefer red and black to like white and blue. But there's definitely
sheen's
something
really
to be
nice to
said for his aesthetic of like the sharp angles, the lean form, the more bleed-like appearance. So, if your
is a
opponent
dragon of
special
destruction.
summons a monsters, except during the damage step, send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard. Special summon a Red Eyes monster from your hand or deck, except Soul. So, hey, if your opponent summons, fuck you, a Red Eyes. You only use this effect of Soul once per turn. Quick effect, target a Red Eyes Black Dragon you control, inflict damage to your opponent's equal to that monster's original attack. You only use this effect of Red Eyes Soul once per duel. So, it's got a weird once per duel restriction to avoid freaky deaky FTK shit, but this just does graveyard setup and fetches Red Eyes, and it's a 7, and it counts as Black Dragon in the graveyard, so you can summon it back. It's an okay card. I think it will show up in decks. The main thing is just it doesn't do, I think, enough to get out there. They're trying, but we really need some extra juice, and I don't think just comments on, other shit will work. And I would say, I'd love to get into some of Red Eyes' spells and traps and shit. But, well, I'll read Red Eye's insight to you, chat. Oops, I didn't spell eyes right. But I'm getting hungry, and I'm getting a little scratchy-throated. So and we've been going for 3.5 hours, so I think it's a good
Oh, yeah, we
tin
have.
to wrap it up.
It's been about 3 hours.
It's not the longest episode, but a decent episode. But Red Eye's Insight.
We've got through how many cards?
Let me actually total it up. I did not count before this, so let me
Maybe
run
just
the line.
considering how much time it took, of like how many times we actually tended it or not, because I just. I feel like we actually talked about some interesting things along the process.
2, 3, 4, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. Almost had a nice round number. 31 named cards, named Red Eyes monsters and adjacency. So, pretty all right. And I think you're right. We have our changes as usual, but I think most of them are a little more on point. But yeah, this is Red Eyes Insight. Send out Red Eyes from your hand or deck to the graveyard. Add a Red Eye spell trap from your deck to your hands, except Insight. You can only activate 1 Insight per turn. Yeah, just thin your deck out of bricks. De-brick yourself to add a spell trap. By the way, half your spell traps are fucking graveyard revival anyway.
Yeah, I just thought about something also.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, I feel like what makes Blue Eyes just way more impactful than Red Eyes is that also just Blue Eyes just has way more actual boss monsters just that work on their own.
Yeah,
well.
no, I mean,
Red Eyes
think...
doesn't. It deploys your dire deck compensating for it.
So, I want to say, I do believe Red Eyes Dark Dragoon was pushed. He was a promo card in a special box set in the OCG, and he was in a tin in the TCG as a randomized card. He was pushed. But as we brought up, he is as much a Dark Magician card as a Red Eyes card. Blue Eyes has pushed boss monsters. It has pushed cards. You cannot... Blue Eyes won a Worlds because of how pushed Blue Eyes was. They were trying to raise those stakes. Red Eyes is not usually pushed. They've made a couple of attempts, but they're not usually pushing those cards. Like I said, I just would like, the equivalent of, like, Magician's Salvation, Apprentice Illusion Magician type shit, the Dark Magicians, the new Amulet Dragon type shit.
Honestly, if we needed, like, a combat hand trap, just make it fucking Red Eyes Time Wizard.
And also, I would like to put forward, similarly, like, where is my Jet Dragon? Like, that's what I need.
Where's Red Eye Statue Dragon?
I mean, that was literally a card in Zexal. I don't know if it did anything special, but that was there was a statue guy at the Duel Hall where they had, representations of classic.
That was when statues. Yeah, that was the whole thing.
But that is a card that exists in an anime. It's I mean, as it existed in that anime, it would not work because that's a level 7.
That was more of the whole that was the whole like vision training thing.
Yeah. It is a level 7 Earth Fairy? I mean, it's a level 7 Red Eye, so it works, but it's got some weird shit. If Statue Zone is on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand in attack position. While it's face up on the field, it has 0 attack and defense and can't declare an attack. That's not helpful to Red Eyes, but, like, you could retrain that to work.
Honestly, I don't think it needs to be directly Statue Dragon. I just feel like I don't know what to pull from. Because the jet thing is a thing they directly pulled from, so I'm just not sure what they.
I mean, technically, the best reference there would be, like, the Lord of the Red, the, like, Red Eyes, Red Eyes Armor Lord, Red Eyes Armor Dragon, or something like.
Oh yeah, I guess they. Could just
that is like the equivalent, I think, of the jet moment, That or I mean, if you want to do it funny,
did we show
find
Lord
some.
of Red? Did I miss that?
Sure. Which one?
Did we show Lord of Red?
Yeah, we showed him earlier. He's
Okay,
Lord of Red is
him.
actually like
remember his
8
art.
years old. It's really forgettable. It's just a guy in
I
Red
don't
Eyes
remember
cosplay.
seeing him ever.
I'll
I
pull
think
him
I
back
missed
up for
and
you.
I'm kind of sad. Thank you, because I just didn't.
I'll
think I
re-pull
actually
him
liked
because it's an interesting
Because
one.
I feel like they could escalate. I feel like they could make just 2 versions of that guy. Like,
Yeah. When I was talking about this earlier, there's absolutely like a better version of that guy out there, right? Because he's a level 8 ritual when he should be probably a level 7.
I feel like you could make a Link version that just requires a fusion. It works a Red Eyes monster.
That
as
could
a
work.
base for it, like
I think there's some other stuff with the armor you could do because those have like equip type effects as well. There he is. He's back. But
it is literally just Joey going full Toku.
Yeah, because that's how it was in the anime. The other weird thing is I would love if we could make some kind of commentary about Winged Dragon of Ra.
Oh my God! Make Could we get a version of Red Eyes where it's like if it had eaten the winged dragon raw, as in like it like supposed to reference that like possibly it could have won.
Yeah, like something like that moment would be another like weird anime moment you could re-Kerjigger.
Red Eyes Divine Phoenix.
Yeah. Or even just call it Winged Dragon of Red Eyes. You know, because that keeps the red eyes. Make it like a level 10 dragon. You don't have to actually make it a divine beast. That might be too weird, but you know, you can make it work as like a 10.
I was just trying to refer it, yeah, and then you could have a second version that's based off the other version of Red Eyes, or the Red Eye version of Raw, and just I don't work with that.
There's some stuff you can work with, but yeah, like in general, I think there's so many ways they could actually tighten down on Red Eyes. I think the main thing is just Red Eyes needs a more consistent extra deck strategy that they can actually go into. I'm kind of surprised that hasn't happened. There was like that weird Mystic Crown Dragon card that was basically like the OCG released a Dragoon at home that nobody played because DPE very quickly became the new Dragoon card in the OCG as well. But like I think they need more consistent boss monsters that are actually like in their archetype and relate to them, because like I said, there's a lot of cards that in Red Eyes that call out being Red Eyes monsters, being level 7 or lower Red Eyes monsters, etc. So a lot of the extra deck cards that are good are outside that. I think there's some room. I think they should retrain Lord of the Red as like a level 7. Again, make it just the Red Eyes Dragon Girl that they showed for Cross Duel. You're not going to use those assets anymore. Take them back. You know, make it a level 7 so you can run ARA, Advanced Ritual Art, you know, much like you do with Chaos Max. Shit like that.
I feel like they could call it like Red Eyes Dragon Main or Red Eyes Dragon Summoner.
Yeah, there's some stuff you could do there. You could call it Red Eyes Dragon Channeler, you know, to reference Harpy Channeler.
For the Harpies. Honestly, I don't know why they can't. I don't know why they don't overlap like Emanaz and Harpy with Red Eyes.
I don't. I think it's because they just
actually where is Harpy's pet Red Eyes?
Yeah, I don't know. It would work perfectly.
I feel like they made a cool bridge card.
There's some bridge cards you could make. Also, honestly, hey, OCG. I know this will bite my wallet in the ass in like 2 years, but you know what would fucking sell and would allow you to work again on the you know, the quote unquote Dragoon problem. Red Eyes Dark Magician Girl. Make it, you know, Red Eyes Dark Dragoon Girl. Just make it DMG in the cute Red Eyes cosplay. There you go. I have sold your next set or tin or whatever. I know it's also the cheapest shot in the universe, but
I feel like I also kind of want to see. I think I was referring to this earlier, like older Dark Magician Girl. I want to see Dark Magical Witch.
Yeah, I think there should be some Dark Magician Girl like retrains or respecs. That's another thing that's like.
Because I want to see her become like
Dallas brought this up. The field spell works as a bridge to actually summon her more, and I've seen her played in some decks now. But like the regular Dark Magician Girl is very bad, which is unfortunate because a lot of their cards do call it out. But like,
I feel like they need to make an actual just retrain it. They just need to make Dark Magician Girl the Apprentice or something like that.
Yeah, they need to make a Dark Magician Girl that counts as Dark Magician Girl,
like the Gaia retrains.
Yeah,
you know,
counts as Dark Magician Girl in like Field and Grave and shit. But has like a special summon effect.
It has the bonus effect, but also does actually other things like.
And it would count as Dark Magician Girl, so you can activate cards like Burning Attack and shit. Anyway, so good for tuning in, everybody. I know that viewership is dropping off a little bit, but we got some engagement there. I appreciate it. Yeah, Serenity reference would also work. I mean, if you wanted a combo with fairies,
oh, wait, no, that's Joey's sister, isn't it?
Yeah, Serenity. Joey's sister. Saint of Red Eyes. Retrain Saint Joan as a Red Eyes monster.
That'd be funny.
Because that was when she did stuff in the anime. Yeah, like there's so many nostalgia pulls. I mean, Apprentice Illusion Magician is supposed to be that, but the problem with Apprentice is she's just a replacement for Dark Magician Girl. She doesn't actually work on any of the cards that call it out. We need a Dark Magician Girl card that says she counts as Dark Magician Girl, like on the field and in the graveyard.
Honestly, I've always taken the Apprentice Illusion Magician as like that version compared to what was it, the rank 7 version of Dark Magician where it's actually like has tan skin.
I mean that is I think that might be Ebon Illusion, but remember there's also there's several. there are several illusion magicians that are dark magician retrains. I
True,
don't know if they're
I've always
supposed to
took
be
it as
the
the-
stronger version or like what, but there's some
the
stuff
older
there.
version. I always took it as that.
Yeah.
Honestly.
But there's also literally the Palladium mana card. Not a great card either, but like more modern and great card art by Kaz. Oh, I was the wrong tab. I closed my Master Duel music. Anyway, it's fine. We're wrapping up. Yes, as always, thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. We're winding down. Appreciate, those of you who stuck it out for the full, almost 4 hours. As I said, always, if you're still here, if you're watching the VOD later, whatever, tell your friends about this. Consider, subscribing to the channel. Give this video a like if you see it later. You can drop super thanks in the post vid as well if you want to actually, do the bet about the Red Eye Soul, whatever. I'll farm engagement that way. Consider supporting our channel memberships. Click the join button or support us on Patreon. Remember, 5 and up patrons, and we are about to do a new month, so I have to pester all these guys for new cards, new card archetypes.
My choice has
We'll
not.
do that.
Mine's not changed.
I didn't even remember. What was your last one? Spiral?
Spiral.
Yeah. Okay.
I've been sick of Spiral because I actually want to go through all those
Yeah.
cards.
Hey, I mean it works. You don't have to
Because
change.
we also probably have to go through some of the spell tracks because they're actually relevant.
Yeah, we can talk about how Resort broke some shit. Ugh. So I'm yawning.
Resort, but also like the art actually. But yeah, there's an order line of things. Yeah.
But we also get to talk about censorship with Spiral. Anyway, neither here nor there. But that's the thing you can do. Check us out. And like I said, we're doing more streams. Watch Resident Evil if you haven't. It's cool. Watch Final Fantasy 14 tomorrow. I will become Tonberry. Watch Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel Thursday. Remember, Thursday bonus stream. Master Duel.
When you do that solo mode, can we? I still. You're okay to help you help you practice.
I mean, I don't know if the
actually
solo
learn
mode will still be 2 hours. So if you want to practice your math,
I mean,
it's
World Legacy. It's probably gonna be very long.
That will probably still be a better use of my time than ladder. But
yeah.
Yes, everybody, that is all I got for today. Thank you for another productive failed portrayal. And I'll see you guys next time. Good night.